From Dick Tharp Field in Normal, Illinois, it's the premier matchup in the Big 12 Conference in Week 4 of the IHSA football season. It's the Peoria High Lions at 2-1, visiting the undefeated Ironmen of Normal Community. Welcome to Normal, everybody, with Jonathan Michael. It's Larry Larson with you. So glad you're with us. And, John, there are a lot of good matchups tonight, but I think the one that jumps out on paper is the fact that Peoria's offense has scored over 100 points in the last 2 games, while Normal's defense has allowed just 6.
Yeah, Peoria High's offense coming into the year, everyone knew it was going to be the focal point for them. They have Tino Gist, a 3-year starter at quarterback, lots of weapons at wide receiver and running back, and obviously they got a lot of confidence last week, scoring 92 on Urbana. Obviously, Peoria and Urbana are in 2 different spots as programs, but it's certainly lots of good things to build off of. Also, a good winning as Danville in Week 2. This is a different Lions team compared to when we saw them back in Week 1, but Normal Community's defense, though, how about shutting out Normal West, a 6th-ranked team in Class 6A last week? Boy, that was quite the impressive feat by them. They have playmakers on all levels.
You look at Peoria High's offense, and what jumps out is the quarterback, Tino Gist, 3rd-year starter, and then obviously their strong run game.
Yeah, certainly, Malik Ross coming in pretty fresh. Only 7 carries last week for Peoria High, so he's going to be looking for another big game. He's had some big ones already this year, and they got plenty of receivers. They have TQ Webb. Javen Moore has been really good coming over from Richwoods. Sean Franklin, Spencer Russell, also 2 talented options as well. Peoria High is probably going to put a lot of points on the board, though, tonight.
We mentioned Normal's defense, but their offense is nothing to mess around with either.
Yeah, certainly not. You got Kyle Beatty, who is a very mature, very professional quarterback for a junior, and he's been a great leader for this community offense. He looks confident in the pocket. He's got Marquand Gary to throw to, Tommy Davis to hand off to or throw to as well. We saw that last week. So community is going to be very balanced with run and pass, and they do both very well.
These are 2 state-ranked teams, Peoria in 5A, Normal Community in 7A, but you look at the Big 12 standings, this could decide the conference tonight.
Yeah, certainly, and we're in Week 4. There's still a lot of football left to play, but a month from now when we're in Week 8, there's a very good chance that both the Lions and the Ironmen are going to look back at this game and say, hey, this was pretty much the Big 12 title game. So a lot laying on the line tonight. It's going to be a very much like a playoff atmosphere, a playoff-type game.
We've got kickoff coming up soon. It's the game of the week with Clutch Sports Media on CIProud.com.
Local 649 is looking for the next generation of apprentices. Between our commitment to safety and detail and state-of-the-art training facility, you will find more than just a career, but a family, creating legacies since 1896.
It wasn't that long ago that I was ready to break, working a job that was making me miserable. Sure, I was getting my paycheck, but I was missing out on everything that mattered. I had to make a change, and that change was joining Sunflower Real Estate Group. Becoming a realtor didn't just give me the flexibility I needed. I'm no longer too tired to have fun at night, and I never miss my kids' games. Sunflower got my life back on track. Sunflower Real Estate Group, the brightest spot in real estate.
Are you sitting on the sidelines because you want more choices? Get in the game during the Total Sales Blitz at every Uftring Auto Group dealer, because we're loaded with our best total selection in 3 years and an all-star team that will make you a winner. UftringAutoGroup.com.
Welcome live to Normal Community High School. Couldn't ask for a better night for football, John.
No, it really couldn't. I mean, the stands are getting packed here. The student sections are out. It's neon night for the Iron Invasion student section. The band's on the field. It's going to be a heck of a ball game, Larry. State-ranked team in 5A, state-ranked team in 7A. 2 of arguably the best teams outside Chicago in the entire state of Illinois.
Sun about to set over Dick Tharp Field. It looks like we're getting set for the national anthem here, and we'll have that live for you. But before that anthem, John, you mentioned those state-ranked teams, as we can get a look at the state polls here. First was 7A. So often, so many of those ranked teams are up north, but Normal Community's making noise here in Central Illinois.
Yeah, certainly, and Community is kind of taking the same spot that Pekin, the team that they lost to last year, was in. They were in the state-ranked poll and 7A for pretty much almost the entire year. They're number 5 right now. They're just right behind Herds, just by a couple of votes. So you could argue that they're arguably a top 3 team. I think they can just keep playing it the way they are. They could end themselves by number 1 or number 2.
And then you look at the 5A poll. I think what says so much about Peoria here is that they lost in a wide margin in week 1, but they're still the 4th-ranked team.
Yeah, that just shows how much respect that everyone has for Peoria. They knew that they were going up against a really good Rochester team, one that's won many state titles recently. And, obviously a big win over Danville, scoring 92 last week against Urbana, certainly helps kind of reestablish the fact that, hey, we're back, we're not going anywhere.
Definitely not. And they bring back so much on their team, and we'll talk about it throughout the broadcast, but it really starts with their defense as here come the Ironmen.
See all the Ironman players, Larry, obviously with community being a 7A school, they have a big team, lots of depth. We were talking with, Tim Thornton, Jason Drengwitz. They said that, community, they always have 11 good players on the field at the same time. There's no drop-off in between, their best players and maybe their 9th, 10th, and 11th guys. So really we can expect that out of the Ironmen today.
More big picture talk, John. We mentioned it in our open at the top of the show. But these are really two of the more premier teams in the Big 12 Conference. Obviously, Normal Community is usually pretty strong. Rather, Normal Community West is also pretty strong. They got blown out by Normal Community last week. This very well could be what decides the top of the standings come mid-October.
Yeah, obviously, it's kind of like last year. You have Peoria High, you got Normal Community, you got Centennial hanging around a little bit. Centennial, they got really lucky. They don't have to face either the Ironmen or the Lions, so they could be in the mix. But really, I do think that whoever wins this game is obviously going to have the upper hand. These two teams don't lose very much. They didn't last week.
They certainly did not last week. You see that score? That's not a typo. Lions 92, Urbana nothing, and Normal Community 43, and West nothing. Both teams pitching shutouts last week. Let's take a listen into our national anthem, played by Community's band. Well done by the Normal Community Band. John, so often we don't get a chance to kind of sit back and watch the band as we get a look at our coin toss from earlier. Normal Community won the toss, and they chose to defer.
Yeah, so that means that Peoria High will get the ball first, and really the first drive is going to be really important for the Lions. They struggled to find a rhythm week 1 against Rochester. Obviously, completely different story the last 2 weeks, and we'll see Normal Community's defense on the start of the field here. They're not allowing many points so far this year.
They certainly have not. As you see that coin toss there, it's presented by Academy of Screen Printing and Awards. Now, John, as we dig into the tail of the tape between these two teams, another thing that we mentioned just a few moments ago at the top of the show, but the high-powered Peoria offense, over 54 points a game. But Normal Community, their defense draws a lot of headlines, but that offense is just incredible. Over 50 for them, too.
Yeah, and it really is surprising who they've done it against as well. Normal Community hasn't played any slouches. They played Sacred Heart Griffin the first week, won 54-14. They thrashed Champaign Centennial 57-6, and then they throttled Normal West 43-0. So this game really could be, first one to 50. We could easily see 100 points scored here at Dick Tharp Field tonight.
100%. Approaching kickoff here as the band still plays along, and it looks like Peoria is about to take the field, led by their head coach, Tim Thornton. And what a program they've built up, John. Obviously a team that we cover a lot on Clutch Sports Media. But Tim Thornton, a guy who turned this Peoria program into a powerhouse pretty much from nothing.
Yeah, really, and just the success he's had. He's looking for his 100th win. He's at 98 right now. Tonight could be number 99. He's had a 3-2 record against Normal Community, a big win against them last year. But really, Peoria High was kind of a middling team in the Big 12. He took them to the state championship, won it in 2016, and they had that heartbreaking loss in the state championship last year. They were just 1 yard away from another 5A state title. So the Lions are just a team that you got to forced to be reckoned with year in and year out now.
Something that's worth noting here, John, is that this is Peoria's first road game. And you hear the welcome that they're getting right now, rousing boos from Normal Community. How much of an effect do you think that has on the game tonight?
Honestly, I think for Peoria High, I think, hearing all the boos, they actually might play a little bit harder. Knowing these Peoria High players, and, a lot of them are going to say, they're, as the kids say, preying on my downfall or something like that. But, when you hear, that people, don't want you to win, it kind of makes you play a little bit harder as well. And obviously, these home fans for Normal Community, they're going to be, cheering on their Ironmen. They're going to have a lot to cheer about. At least I think if, this game is anything like we expect it to be. Should be really interesting as Community has already taken the field. Peoria High is taking their time.
We mentioned that Normal Community won the toss. They chose to defer, so they'll receive the ball to open the second half. Glad you're with us on your Friday night. Couldn't ask for a more picturesque evening for football in Central Illinois, and you couldn't ask for a better matchup in our Game of the Week on CIProud.com with Clutch Sports Media. Will Castro will boot it away for Community. Peoria with a lot of weapons back deep, among them TQ Webb. And here we go. That ball sails back deep. Hauled in on the far side, that's Javion Moore. Moore bumping around, and he's down. Let's meet Peoria High starting lineup presented by Bob Grimm Chevrolet.
Valentino Gist, senior quarterback.
Astro Ross, senior running back.
Spencer Russell, junior receiver.
TQ Webb, a junior and receiver.
Javen Moore, senior wide receiver.
Sean Franklin, senior wide receiver.
AJ Roscoe, senior left tackle.
Jaquarius Green, sophomore left guard.
Lamar Mofford, junior center.
Deuce Thornton, junior right guard.
Jameer Fuller, senior right tackle.
Malik Ross off to the races, eventually shoved out of bounds at the 45-yard line, 35 rather. Wow, starting the ball game with a bang.
That's exactly what you want if you're Peoria High. We talked about Ross a little bit in the open, about he's a player to watch for Peoria High. Taking over from Malachi Washington, hasn't missed a beat so far. Had 130 yards and 2 touchdowns last week on just 7 carries.
Something to note here, Breon Green is under center for Peoria. He gives to Ross again. A little bit of a shorter run this time, about 4 yards. Maybe 3 there. It'll be second down.
An interesting look for Peoria High that Green coming in to start the game. He was 2 for 4 last week, had 47 yards, carried the ball a little bit, scored a touchdown against Rochester, so this isn't his first action of the year.
Green out of the gun here. Man in motion is Williams at fullback. Another give to Ross, straight up the gut, and he's going nowhere. Third down coming up.
And you got 2 all Big 12 defensive linemen on the other side for Normal Community, and A.J. Montoya and ISU commit Dexter Niekamp. Them along with Caden Moss and Isaiah Greif are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the trenches tonight for the Lions.
3rd and 7 for Peoria. Think they dial up the pass?
And they probably do at this point. Got 3 wide receivers. I'm looking at Sean Franklin in the slot to your near side.
Hard count from Green. Nobody budges. Play clock under 10. The give up the gut. And it's going to be short. That was Pollard on the run for Peoria, the sophomore.
A little bit of an interesting play call there from Tim Thornton. Obviously with your backup QB, maybe you want to run it a little bit more. Green picks up a good chunk. Obviously, the Lions are going to go for on 4th down. They always do. That's just the brand of football they play.
In case you're not familiar, they go for it every single time. And by the way, an onside kick every single time as well.
And they go for 2 every time as well.
Not much kicking. Green with another hard count. They need 4 to move the chains. Another give. This time it's Ross. Breaks through. Has the first down and some more. Down at the 15. And it's a fresh set for the Lions.
And Larry, that's a lot of trust. Handing it off to your running back there on 4th and 4. Also, I think what we're going to see tonight between Malik Ross and Tommy Davis, not just 2 backs that are fast, but 2 backs that can break tackles. And Ross did so right there.
Ross still in there. He gets another give, and this time he's going backwards. A gang of Ironmen in there on the tackle. Jace Wilson in from linebacker to bring him down.
Wilson's been a key piece for the Ironmen on defense. His first year starting, the junior made a real big impact against Normal West last week. Always a threat to come in and knife through the edge.
3-yard loss officially. 2nd and 13. We still have not seen what Green can do with his arm. Obviously, as John mentioned, went 2 for 4 passing last week. Still haven't seen Tino Gist. Williams again at fullback in motion. The throw goes out wide. It's caught by Webb, fighting for some space. Still up towards the sideline, and he gets close to the chains there. Lions inside the 10.
Well, Larry, he almost fooled me. I thought he was out of bounds, maybe about a yard or 2 past the sticks. He just kept on chugging. Nice little, consistent pass there for Green. They'll kind of help you maybe calm the nerves a little bit. I wonder what he's feeling right now. A sophomore quarterback going against the number 5 team in 7A.
A team that's only allowed 6 points in their last 2 games, including a shutout win last week over Normal West. The give to Ross. He charges in. And the pile trying to move here.
He may have got it.
It's going to be close. We'll have to see.
How about Malik Ross, who had just 7 carries last week, Larry, and you may already be at that number already. I believe he is. 8 plays for Peoria High and just 1 pass.
It's going to be 4th and 1. Green keeps it himself, plunges through. It's going to be enough to move the chains. It'll be 1st and goal from about the 2 for Peoria.
And that's a little QB draw there from Breon Green, and they're obviously their main man at quarterback, Tino Gist. He's more of a pocket passer, despite contrary to popular belief. Green, maybe they're going with him as he can add a little bit more options with his legs.
Green gives to Ross through the middle and into the end zone. Touchdown Peoria. Lions strike first. That drive was almost all Malik Ross.
It's not the type of drive we're used to seeing from Peoria High. We're used to seeing, drives that are very quick or drives that go through the air a lot. That was it was almost like old school 3 yards in a cloud of dust, other than that big opening run to start it. Really nice drive for Peoria High, establishing good tempo and really just taking control of that game. Nice job by Ross.
Again, Peoria goes for 2. They barely have a kicker on the roster. Man in motion is Rutherford. It's Ross on the take, and he takes the 2-point conversion after his touchdown. Lions 8, Ironmen nothing. How's that for a start in your first road game of the year?
That's huge for Peoria High. And again, we saw in week 1, they did get off to a really good start against Rochester. Lots of turnovers. Really, you can't really, there's less of a turnover risk when you run the ball, especially when you have a good running back like Malik Ross. I really like what the Lions did there. Curious to see if they're going to stick with Green for the next drive or not, or maybe they just brought as a decoy for drive number 1. We'll see.
There's the scoring drive brought to you by Updring. 9 plays, 75 yards, almost exclusively on the ground. We mentioned that Peoria barely has a kicker on their roster, but when they do need to kick it, try and recover it afterwards, it's Jatrell Berryhill, the senior.
And this is going to be big now. This is a huge key for Normal Community, Larry. We talked during the week that the Ironmen, they have to use their head and their hands. Their head for the fact that they had a lot of personal fouls last week in a big rivalry game against Normal West. Emotions are high in this one as well, so they got to keep on the personal fouls. Also, they have to recover these onside kicks that killed them last year, and Jason Drengwood said they gave them 4 extra possessions.
Community almost had it. It bounces off their hands out of bounds. It will be Community ball, and let's meet their starting offense.
Kyle Beatty, junior, quarterback.
I'm Tommy Davis, running back, senior.
I'm Marquand Gary, I'm a junior, and I'm a wide receiver.
I'm Caden Hardiman, I'm a senior, and I'm a wide receiver.
Ivorion Austin, class of 2025, wide receiver.
Alex Binion, senior, tight end.
Mac Brennan, senior, left tackle.
Reed Johnson, junior, left guard.
Quinn Butler, senior, center.
Tyler Russmeyer, senior, right guard.
Braden Mazanowski, junior, right tackle.
Kyle Beatty leading his offense onto the field, and the first play is a handoff to Tommy Davis. He'll gain 3 on first down. Tommy Davis, the featured back. Kyle Beatty can really chuck it through the air. This is a multi-dimensional offense.
Yeah, it really is. Beatty's big option at wide receivers. Marquand Gary had a big touchdown catch over the middle last week. Yeah, Davis out of the backfield. He could also be an option down the field as well. And then, Davis and Kalen Taylor carrying the ball. Got to watch out for them.
Beatty will pass, and he chucks it deep. Looking for Gary. He hauls it in. Down at the 15, right on cue.
These Normal Community fans, they love it. They're probably going to get used to seeing that this year. Just right as I mentioned, Gary's long touchdown catch last week. That one didn't go for a score, but puts the Ironmen in great position down inside the red zone. It's like he maybe beat Spencer Russell over the top.
Beatty's got one heck of an arm. Junior quarterback who stepped up and placed the injured Chase Weiss last year in week 4. His first start was against these Lions. How's that for baptism by fire? Beatty out of the gun. They'll look to pass again. Chased out of the pocket. Here comes the pressure. Throw to the end zone. It's batted away. Nice job by Peoria's secondary. That's Cam Peterson, the linebacker, to break it up.
And also the pressure brought by Debo Young, one of the defensive tackles on the Lions defensive line. Tim Thornton said that, their defensive line coach, Coach Roper, has them playing at a real high level. They're going to need to play good here today. The more runs they can bottle up from Tommy Davis and the more they can frustrate Kyle Beatty, the better off the Lions are going to be.
2nd and 10. Davis is the back. And Davis gets the carry. Sheds a tackle initially, and he is slammed down. Troy Pullen pulls him down. 3rd and long coming up.
And Pullen, the other defensive tackle for Peoria High as well. This is a defensive line that, aside from Patrick Jordan, is a really new-look group from last year. In fact, there's a lot of new faces on this Peoria High defense, aside from Gary Rutherford and Jordan. Defense that has found their stride a little bit more the last 2 weeks.
Peoria High head coach Tim Thornton says that defensive line has really stepped it up since week 1, playing extra solid right now. They don't budge on the hard count. Play clock winding down at 5. Community needs to go. It's at 3, now 2. Will they get the playoff? They will not. It's a delay of game.
Now it's tough for the Ironmen. Now it's going to make a 3rd and long, now 3rd and longer. Still inside the red zone, and Ironmen,
they got the timeout in, it looks like.
Prior to the flag for delay of game, a timeout, Normal Community. Timeout, Normal Community.
Timeouts brought to you by Fox Pub.
Enjoy the award-winning Heller experience at Heller Ford in El Paso.
And John, I think if you're Normal Community in the first half of this game, you'd rather not take a timeout this early.
No, you definitely wouldn't. And again, like we said, it backs you up a little bit more, but, or I should say it backs you up more because there was no flag. But again, you had to take a timeout, so they'll have a chance to talk about it and see. I expect them to probably go to the air. Again, Gary is the option over deep, but they also got Ivorion Austin, Caden Hardiman as options as well. Again, Tommy Davis, so you got to watch him out of the backfield. Looks like he'll head out there along with number 11. 11's Beatty.
You'd hope he'd be out there every play.
Yeah, you'd hope. Never know. Maybe Community goes with the Wildcat. They did it for a play last week.
They're going from the spread here. 3rd and 9. Beatty with the fade to the end zone. Touchdown Community.
2 words, Larry. Highlight reel. What a catch there by Ivorion Austin, the junior. He's kind of the odd man out last week. He was the only receiver that didn't catch a touchdown. He got one there in splendid fashion, going up and over his DB. What a way to respond for Normal Community.
Needed that response. This is likely going to be a high-scoring affair. Ironmen will go for the extra point. The snap, the hold, the kick is all good. Community now trails by 1. It's 8-7 in favor of the Lions. Just over 5 minutes left in the first quarter. As you get a look at the upstream scoring drive, that was quick. Just over 2 minutes, 5 plays. While Peoria stuck with the ground game, Normal went through the air.
Yeah, and very, very contrasting offenses so far. I think we're going to see Peoria High throw the ball a little bit more throughout the night. I think we'll also see Community run the ball a little bit more as well. It really depends on game flow. But the good news is both these teams are very good at both. Again, going back to that tail of the tape, averaging over 50 points a game, you don't just have that by being one-dimensional. So we're going to see all sorts of offenses. The playbook is going to be wide open for both offensive coordinators tonight.
Lions returners once again are Webb and Moore. And Castro stays out there to kick. Special teams, something to watch tonight. When two teams are so talented and not separated by much, it's little things like special teams that make the big difference. Moore hauls it in, stumbles, and falls forward. Let's meet the Normal Community defense.
Dexter Niekamp, senior defensive end.
Caden Moss, senior defensive end.
I'm Isaiah Greif. I'm a senior and I'm a defensive tackle.
Jace Wilson, junior outside linebacker.
Cooper Caraway, senior inside linebacker.
Aiden Boundy, senior defensive back.
Blake Potts, senior strong safety. Keegan Buckner, senior safety.
Peoria will start the drive from its own 24-yard line, and once again, Breon Green out there leading the offense. The sophomore takes a low snap and keeps it himself, and he's pushed backwards.
He actually dropped that snap. Ball hit the ground for a second, so Lions lucky to hang on to it. A little bit of a miscommunication there. A young connection between the junior center, Kamar Montford, and the sophomore Green.
They make a gain out of it, though. Nice play from Green. And 2nd and 9. So once again, Tino Gist, starting quarterback, apparently out tonight for the Lions. Snap and a give from Green. He keeps it himself, rather, and this time he's going backwards. About a loss of 1, it looks like.
I didn't catch exactly who was in the backfield for Community, but it really could have been anybody. Their linebacking core, very good. Jace Wilson, also the seniors Cooper Caraway and Brady Ogston. It's going to be a 3rd and long for the Lions, and
looks like a gain of 1 there to correct an earlier statement.
Still, I think Peoria High is going to have to throw the ball sooner or later. Is now the time. We'll see.
And a little bit of a jump. It's going to be encroachment, offsides on Community. That'll move them to 3rd and short.
That'll make things a bit easier for the Lions. Maybe open up the playbook a little bit more. Maybe make you a little bit more comfortable and hand it off to Malik Ross. Again, this 3rd down for Peoria almost functions as a 2nd down because they're probably going to go for it regardless. They're probably not too nervous right now.
Green waiting for the play call. And he hollers it out to the offense. No huddle offense for the Lions. Green rolls out of the pocket. Looking long, he'll tuck and run, and he's brought down from behind. That was Caden Moss with the chase down tackle. And that brings up 4th down. And it brings up, no, it's a 1st down.
It looked like Green was going to be close to the sticks and just got it, but nice tackle, nice pressure there from Moss. Credit to Green's wheels. Kind of getting to just know more about him as the game goes along. So we'll see what the sophomore is going to be made of, and Moss bringing him down. He had a big game last week, had 2 sacks. One of them was for a safety.
Community's 43-0 win last week. Green dials it up deep, looking for more, and it's nearly picked off. That was Marquand Gary in coverage, it looked like.
No,
Anton Cassell.
Yep, that was Castle or Cassell, however you pronounce it, on defense. And a little bit of a wobbly ball there for Green, a dangerous one to throw for sure. You want to go with more of the short yardage throws to prevent those easy potential interceptions.
2nd and 10 from the 34. Green with the give. It's Ross. Once again, a very limited game. This is a normal community defensive line that's playing with a lot of intensity. You mentioned that safety last week from Moss. Cade Moss in there again. Chase Wilson as well.
Yeah, and A.J. Montoya was in there as well. Looking at A.J. Montoya, just here from the press box there, he's listed at 6'2", 220. He looks like much bigger of a guy in person. At least all the way up from here, up the middle, playing D tackle. Can the Ironmen bring pressure one more time? Short gain here would be huge.
3rd and 9. Green pitches it out wide to Ross. He's hit in the backfield. A massive hit. Chase Wilson in there again.
That's another great week in the mix now for Wilson. Had a big one last week. And again, Peoria High, that first drive, maybe Normal Community is kind of like, okay, what are they going to do? Where's Tino Giss? Are they going to throw the ball? Are they going to run the ball? Now they're just kind of running it, and I think the Ironman defense now has kind of a beat on what the Lions are going to do.
4th and 11. I wouldn't rule out a pooch punt here, John.
I wouldn't either.
Green takes a few steps back, and it will be a pooch punt. Nobody back deep to return. Javen Moore approaches it as it rolls past the 30 and down to the 25-yard line. Let's meet the Peoria High defense.
6-yard line, first down, Ironman.
Kevin Roberts, senior, and I play DN.
Tony Pullen, senior, defensive tackle.
Dontaris Young, senior, defensive tackle.
Patrick Jordan, senior, defensive tackle.
Gary Rutherford, senior, linebacker.
Keon Jordan, junior, outside linebacker.
Isaac Williams, outside linebacker, senior.
My name is Amari Smith. I'm a senior and I play corner.
My name is Darion Mays. I'm a sophomore and I play corner.
Damari Azapata, sophomore, safety.
Jackenzie Tillman, senior, free safety.
Beatty had Gary, but just overthrew him.
I mean, Gary was about as wide open as you could go, and that's not a horrible throw from Beatty. You either want a completion or an incompletion, not an interception. Looking for his main man, the junior, down the sideline. So there's really no secret that, Gary is going to be Beatty's best option, and I think they're going to try and test a little bit of a younger secondary for Peoria High, one that Tim Thornton, though, is, again, another group that has really progressed well in the last 2 weeks. We'll see what they're made of here tonight.
Beatty with the give to Kalen Taylor. It's his first carry. He's making the most of it. Down the sideline, bumped out of bounds at the 50.
And Kalen Taylor, for those of you who don't know, he's the younger brother of former Normal Community running back Chris Taylor, who formed an absolutely amazing backfield duo with Tommy Davis last year. So the future is bright in the Normal Community backfield. Looks like they're going to say he stepped out at the 46. Community thought they were across midfield.
They quickly move backwards, trying to go with the hurry up here. Once again, it's Taylor riding the hot hand. This time he's past the 50 and hit near out of bounds.
And I noticed this when watching film about Normal Community, Larry, is having two great backs in the backfield with Davis and Taylor. They like to alternate drives. So one drive, Tommy Davis will get all of the carries, and the next drive, Kalen Taylor will get all of the carries. It helps keep both backs fresh. They only had a couple of carries each, both less than 10 last week. So these two backfield mates for Community are going to be firing to go.
This time it's Davis. Bounces upfield, slips a tackle, still trying to go. That'll move the sticks and get some more. Brought down just short of the 35.
Tommy Davis just moving like a gazelle out there. You saw him sidestep once, sidestep twice. Thinks of the football field's a dance floor, but he makes it look good.
John, last week, the first play from scrimmage for Normal Community was a bubble screen for him. He took a hit in the backfield, then took off for a 36-yard gain. That's just the type of player he is. 1st and 10 from the 47. Beatty back to pass, looking towards the sideline, and he overthrew Marquand Gary.
It's going to be a big night here for Spencer Russell on Peoria High's secondary. He's got the assignment to cover Marquand Gary. You saw him get beat for that one big pass earlier on their first drive. He's thrown in Gary's direction twice more. Russell wasn't part of the Peoria High secondary, at least of their starters, back in week 1. So they're still shuffling some personnel around.
After the folks on the chain gang switch out the footballs, Tommy Davis off to the races, pushed out of bounds just shy of the 20. Gary Rutherford able to chase him down, and he gives a high five to his buddy.
And Gary Rutherford, we're going to be calling his name a lot tonight. He's going to be a Division I bound linebacker, offers from Indiana, Wyoming, Illinois State.
The most recent one, Washington State, just in this week.
Wazoo, shout out to the Cougs. But Rutherford is really a sideline player. He's got a ton of speed at middle linebacker. Tim Thornton just raves about him every time we talk to him about their defense.
Empty set for Beatty. Clean pocket. Chucks it long. He drops a dime in there. Oh, that was a beauty to Marquand Gary, and Community jumps in front.
Heck of a pass there from Beatty to Gary. You talked about that clean pocket, Larry. He had lots of them last week. Even when the pocket isn't as clean, he looks so mature, so poised back there. Very pro-style quarterback, and again, that's a pro-style throw right there. One you'd see in the NFL, just put on an absolute dot. Now Gary's got 2 touchdown receptions for the Ironmen. Heck of a start from the passing game from the Community.
Castro's extra point is good. Lucas Drenguis with the hold. And this Community offense is humming right now. 2 passing touchdowns from Kyle Beatty. 1 to Ivo Austin, and the next to Marquand Gary. Take a look at the upstream scoring drive here in a moment.
Yeah, I stand corrected. Austin caught the first touchdown. Gary also had that big catch. Didn't go for a touchdown, but just the connection that Beatty has with his wide receivers. Worked a ton with them in the offseason. They had to just have good practice after good practice, and it really shows.
This is a huge drive coming up for Peoria.
Yeah, it really is. You can deal with getting punched, but the thing is, you got to punch back. Peoria High did not punch back against Rochester. At least they didn't until the second half. So, again, they had that really good first drive. They got to figure out something out here on this one. I'll see how comfortable Breon Green can get. Again, I'm sure that nerves are probably still probably ramping up maybe a little bit more now that you're facing deficit. But again, he's got Tino Gist probably coaching him up, talking to him on the sideline. That's who I'd want talking to me.
Line drive kick towards TQ Webb. He's going to return it. Webb, an explosive receiver, has the ball punched out. Community's on it. Fumble recovery from Jaden Campbell. The junior comes up huge.
And we just talked about special teams, Larry. It's going to be huge in this game. Peoria High's unorthodox approach, Normal Community not being able to recover the onside last year. Now they recover a fumble on the kickoff. Now they're in great field position after just getting a ton of momentum from that long touchdown pass. The stands are buzzing on the orange side here at Dick Thart Field.
And tonight it's the neon side.
It is.
That student section jam-packed. 1st and 10 for Community on the Peoria 16. Beatty again in the empty set. The man in motion is Gary. It's a reverse. Davis looking to pass. He's going to tuck and run. Why not? Spins towards the goal line, and he's brought down just short. I think a play like that kind of sums up this community offense. You never know what's coming next.
No, and you just have so many options. Obviously, Tommy Davis is looking ready to pass that ball, so who knows? We could see one of those later tonight. And last week we saw Kyle Beatty scrambled out of the pocket, ran for 8 yards, lateral it backwards to Marquand Gary, who took it for 14 yards and ran it right into the end zone. So the playbook is wide open for Normal Community's offense.
Ball on the 3. Beatty, keeper, goal line, score. 2-possession game for Normal Community.
Boy, and Peoria High again, still early in this game, but you probably just feel like you got hit with a 1-2 combo by Mike Tyson. 1 minute, it's 8-7, you're up, and all of a sudden now you're down by 2 scores to the number 5 team in Class 7A on the road. The sophomore quarterback, what's Peoria High made of? We're got to find out here.
Kick almost blocked, but Castro drills it under pressure. And our new score is Normal Community 21 and Peoria High 8. 20 seconds left in the first quarter. In our Game of the Week on CIProud.com, presented by Clutch Sports Media. And that scoring drive, as always, brought to you by Uftering. 2 plays, simple.
Yeah, you love to see that if you're a Normal Community fan. You don't like to see it if you're a Peoria High fan. The benefit for Peoria High right now, Larry, is that that drive didn't take that much time off the clock. We're still in the first quarter. After the first 6-7 minutes flew by, that long drive for Peoria High. Now it's just really just kind of slowing down because of all these scores that Community has had. But there's still plenty of ball game left. You can drive down the field, get a touchdown, a 2-point conversion. You're right back in this game. You just got to figure it out on defense. The offense will come around for Peoria High eventually. And it's got to prevent those mistakes and hold on to the football on this kick return.
They'll get another crack at it, and just before the kickoff, not sure if our cameras caught it, Javen Moore gives TQ Webb a nice pat on the back, says, all right, you got it. This time the kick goes to Moore. Moore downfield, one man to beat. There he goes. 30, 20, past his man, in for 6. Javen Moore with a house call. How's that for a right hook right back?
We're going to a boxing match, Larry, and a football game broke out. Back and forth, boxing, ping pong, tennis, whatever you want to call it. What a ball game we have in Normal. Talk about a response. I mean, you can't get any better than that. Special teams, both teams, you could say, are excelling aside from that fumble from Peoria High. Maybe Moore gave Webb that pat on the back to think maybe one of the community guys would say, like, okay, well, TQ's going to return this ball. Nope. House call for Javen Moore, the Richwoods transfer, making a huge impact at Peoria High.
Lions going for 2. Man in motion is Rutherford. Here's Ross. And it looks like he's going to be short. It's no good. So it's a 7-point ball game with 8 seconds left in the first quarter.
Well, Larry, I was almost certain, not 100%, but almost certain we were going to head into the second half at 21-8. Javen Moore had other ideas, and that just reminds you how quick this Lions offense can strike. Now, again, we'll see what their defense can do. They'll get right back onto the field. They don't get much of a breather, Larry. Thankfully, it's not too terribly hot tonight. It's a beautiful night here in Normal. So the guys should be hydrated. A lot different than week 1 when it was close to 100, but
that sunset speaks for itself. Gorgeous.
Shades of Normal Community orange. I tell you, Larry, I was driving back from Normal here on Wednesday night, and I drove on I-74 heading back towards Peoria, and the sky was absolutely gorgeous. One of the best sunsets I've seen in a long time, and it was almost the exact shade of orange. I don't know, again, you can ask our Joey Wright what the exact hex code is, of what exact shade of orange it is, but it was absolutely beautiful, and I was like, boy, I hope we get another sunset like this.
So Lions, as always, going with the onside kick here. Berryhill will boot it the short distance. It kicks around, and it's recovered by Community. Hardiman with the good hands there. the Ironmen will start their drive from across midfield. 7 seconds left in the first quarter. Almost feels like the second half energy already.
No kidding, Larry. The best thing right now, especially for the viewers at home, we got 3 more quarters of football left to play, if not more. Who knows? Last time we were here at Community, we almost went to overtime. That overtime thriller against Pekin last year in the 7A playoffs. I actually don't believe it was overtime, but it's still a very close game nonetheless.
Felt just short of overtime, thanks to Miley Hansen. 1st and 10 from just shy of midfield. Community's own 49. Beatty back to pass, throws it long. Gary wide open, brought down at the 15.
We almost had another score as the buzzer hit in the first quarter, Larry. Beatty to Gary. I mean, that connection is stronger than an Olympic power lifter tonight. I'm curious to see what Gary's yardage totals are right now. Heck of a first quarter of action. Couldn't have asked for any more. Don't go anywhere.
Second quarter next.
We're excited about the all new tracks. They're selling as fast as they arrive. Just listen to Lee.
I looked everywhere for my 2024 Chevy Trax. I'm from Indiana, and I drove right over to buy it. Such a smooth and simple process.
That's the Bob Grimm way.
Michael's Italian Feast, home of the best subs, pizza bread, grilled cheese, and Italian beef fry. The best pile-high subs and hot sandwiches in Central Illinois. And no one has better homemade, always fresh from the oven bread. Michael's Italian Feast.
Under the lights at Dick Tharp Field. Whole lot of action in the first quarter. It's the Normal Community Iron offense, 21, and Peoria 14. Taking a look at Jason Drengwitz, Normal's head coach's resume. Look at that overall record, 38-13, but a 2-2 mark against Peoria.
And he's coming off a big 64-30 loss against the Lions last year. We'll get more into that as the game goes on. But they also had a big win against Peoria High back in 2021, 42-40. That was I remember that game. That was a rain-soaked game at Peoria High. I was sopping wet.
John took the brunt.
I was sopping wet for about 3 hours running the camera.
Everybody else hiding under the tarp.
What a game.
Beatty back to pass. No hiding from this rush. Throw towards the sideline. Gary stays upright into the end zone. Touchdown Community.
This game, Larry, we said it might be first one to 50. I think we might change that. Maybe first one to 70 at this rate. Ironmen, 4 touchdowns in just over 1 quarter of action. I mean, Peoria High has to find an answer for Marquand Gary. He's beating them long. He's beating them off to the sideline. They got to maybe start double covering him at some point.
Castro's extra point on the way, and it's good. Community 28, Peoria 14, 2-possession lead. And if you're Community, you are feeling real good right now.
Yeah, their offense, again, is clicking on all cylinders. We saw it week 1. When I saw that final score, that game against Sacred Heart Griffin, I knew that Ironman's offense was good. I was still shocked that they put up 54 on the reigning 4A state champion Cyclones. Then they went and put up 57 on Champaign Central and 43 against Normal West, all in the first half. So they could have poured it on more if it weren't for the running clock. So this Ironman team, take notes, folks.
Another scoring drive brought to you by Uftring. Another quick one.
3 plays, 49 yards, 14 seconds. This team is going 0 to 60 in probably about 2 seconds or so. I think that's the pretty good rate for a pretty good sports car on the market.
That's about the speed that Javen Moore went on his kickoff return touchdown the last time Castro booted one away. Let's see if he stays away from him. They go back towards the end zone. It's into Moore's hands again. He's got to be feeling pretty confident, and he's wrapped up. Great tackle at the 20-yard line. How's that for a response from Normal special teams unit? Caden Moss in there with the ankle tackle.
Yeah, Moss will stay out there on defense as a defensive end. So again, usually you don't see too many DNs playing special teams. Moss, a little bit of a smaller of an end, listed at 6'1", 180, but again, lots of just multi-dimensional players on this community defense. You got Dexter Niekamp, who could, play defensive end, could play linebacker, plays tight end on offense as well. So you'll get a lot of different looks from the Ironmen.
Shouting for timeout for Normal Community. They saw something they did not like. And Jason Drengwitz wants to talk it over. All our timeouts brought to you by Fox Pub.
Shout out to everyone at Fox Pub if you're watching there. Sending our warmest welcomes to you from Peoria, or from Normal back to Peoria, wherever you are. Glad you're with us here on CIProud.com. This is, Larry, this is shaping to be the best game that at least I've been at so far this season. Again, so much left to be played. Normal Community could run away with it. Peoria High could run away with it as well. They have a little bit steeper of a hill to climb, but I just didn't even know how to sum up this game. It's just moving at lightning speed. Both teams play at a super high level. You hate that someone's going to have to lose.
Well, in case you're just joining us, we can sum it up for you. Kyle Beatty, responsible for 4 touchdowns, 3 in the air, 1 on the ground. All 4 scores for the Iron. Green under center. The give to Ross. Has nowhere to go.
And Moss in the backfield again for Normal Community. He's having a heck of a game so far. And Larry, back to Kyle Beatty. You watched our In the Clutch podcast this week. We picked fantasy football teams from local players around the area. My quarterback was Kyle Beatty. So I don't know how many fantasy points he's got right now, but it's quite a lot.
Probably a few more than Kirk Cousins last night. He had a pretty good game. Green looking long, and he nails the throw to Moore. Past the 50. First big passing play of the ball game for Peoria High, and I've got a feeling they're going to need more of that.
I think so. That was a really good-looking throw from Green. Did it on the run and flushed out of the pocket. Found Javen Moore, who again came in this game, 14 receptions for 219 yards and 4 touchdowns. He added, obviously, his 5th all-purpose one just a bit ago.
Here's Ross. Has plenty of room to run before he's dragged down by Blake Potts, the safety.
Potts, another multi-dimensional player for Normal Community on defense. Can play safety, can play a little bit of linebacker as well. As it looks like Jalen Rayford in the game now for the Lions.
Rayford spread out wide at the very bottom of your screen. Green throws right instead. It's Moore, and he's pushed backwards. John, watching over the tape from Peoria's 92-0 win over Urbana last week, they love those little wide receiver screens, and I think it's going to be a great way to get those receivers involved with an inexperienced quarterback tonight.
I certainly think so, and if you had Tino Gitz, you're probably not doing that every play, but with Green, just let your wide receivers make a play.
Ross is going to make a play. He shakes the defender. In for 6. Malik Ross with his first running score tonight. His second running score, rather. A long one. Brings it back within 1 possession.
Unbelievable, Larry. Just the speed at which both of these teams are going. It's another sub-2-minute scoring drive. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see any more punts the rest of the night. It just may be touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Big run, though, for Ross. He's trying to, had a bunch of those small carries.
Ross stays out there, gets the give for the 2-point conversion. Did he get enough? Peoria thinks so. And the officials confirm.
He did. I was talking about Malik Ross, Larry. Obviously you have those 4-yard gains, the ones that don't go very far. All it really does, it establishes a run, opens up the pass a little bit, and eventually, sooner or later, a player like Malik Ross is going to break one of those big runs. The second one of the night, second touchdown, caps off another scoring drive for the Peoria High Lions.
So the Lions will try and get it back here. could be a turning point. Still relatively early in this game if the Lions can get on one. But as you mentioned, Jason Drengwitz, Normal Community's head coach, said those onside kicks, they were very much a point of emphasis.
Yeah, they really were. And I asked him, I was like, how did you kind of, get ready for that? You have any fun drills, anything like that? He just said, no, we just, got more reps or whatever. So I'm sure Will Castro for Community was over practicing his onside kicks all week long. And we'll see if Normal Community's hands team, what they have to bring, and they can execute.
And they will execute again. It's none other than Tommy Davis out there.
He's a guy I'd certainly want on my hands team. Probably Marquand Gary as well. A couple other Normal Community receivers.
Onside kick recovered by Tommy Davis.
The thing about those onside kicks, Larry, is obviously you can try and recover it, but it puts Normal Community, they're going to get really good field position almost all night long, it feels like, if they can recover those onside kicks.
So the Iron will open the drive at their own 44. As Kyle Beatty trots on out there with his unit. Beatty having quite the game. 1 touchdown on the ground, 3 in the air. Tommy Davis, his company in the backfield. Man in motion, and the give to Davis. Davis has room to run. Tries to spin away from Gary Rutherford, and Gary says, nah, you're not getting away this time. It is a first down, though.
Yeah, Tommy Davis can get away from a lot of defenders. Can't get away from Gary Rutherford, though, one of the premier, if not the premier defender in any possession in all of the Big 12. Again, saw a couple ankle tackles. You're not going to bring down Tommy Davis with any ankle tackles here tonight. That's a big, strong man that got in the gym a lot over the offseason and really is tough to tackle now and blends that with his speed.
After that Normal West win last week, he said, I've been in the weight room. I don't go down after one hit anymore. Absolutely not. Flags fly here, and it looks like Normal Community may have jumped. No, it's offsides. And Community will now jump forward.
Certainly help for the Ironmen. And again, we've seen a pretty clean ball game so far. Certainly hope it stays that way. And, obviously, especially after the play, too. Again, both these teams are pretty jacked up, for this game. You want to, keep your emotions in check. And so far, at least from what we can see, that both teams have done a good job of doing that.
Austin and Gary near the top of your screen. Davis gets the carry, gets some blocks, up the sideline and shoved out of bounds by Gary Rutherford once again, but another big gainer for Tommy Davis.
And really credit to Normal Community's blocking. They've really made a lot of open space for Tommy Davis to operate all night long. Caden Hardiman, the senior wideout, I don't think he's had a catch so far tonight, but a really good block on the edge that sealed off a defender, really allowed that big gain. Without it, probably would have been a, maybe a 4 or 5 yard gain. So credit to Normal Community's blockers, the rest of their offensive line that brings back a lot of experience, and has a couple juniors as well.
This one's going to be brought back, holding on Community. So it's going to be 1st and 15 after it was 1st and 5. Flag starting to jump around. Jason Drengwitz, Community's head coach, also mentioning that those lack of penalties, that big emphasis in practice after a 43-0 win. There's not much you can improve upon after that, but that's one of them. Davis up the gut, and no big gain this time. Shoved down near the line of scrimmage. That was Dorsey Doss.
Yep, Dawson and Rutherford again combining on there. And again, Larry, we talked about what can you improve on after the start from Normal Community. He said it's all in the details right now for the wide receivers. It's about getting the right depth of their routes. For the running backs, it's finding the right aiming point. Like where do you want to make your next move? Pick a point and get there. Also, can your quarterback make the right read? So far, I give him an A in just about all of those.
2nd and 14. Beatty looking for the screen. Connects with Austin over the middle, past the original line of scrimmage, and now pushed backward.
Nice job by the Lions swarming to the football there.
Patrick Jordan comes out with the football, but not until after the ball carrier was down. Forward progress makes it 3rd and 7 for the Iron. Go to the air here.
I think Kyle Beatty at quarterback, you have to. Marquand Gear at wide receiver, it's almost a necessity. Although I wouldn't be surprised though to see a handoff to Tommy Davis.
Hard count from Beatty. Nobody budges. Here's Davis. Slips past one tackle. Bounces outside with a block. And he will move the chains. Who needs a pass when you got Tommy Davis?
I was going to say, Larry, there really isn't a possibility of Tommy Davis ever having really a short run. At least it seems that way. Every time he runs the ball, it seems like he goes for at least 5, usually more. And last week had 8 carries for 57. So you do some quick math, about 7 yards a carry. For that as an average, it's pretty good, especially against normal West defense.
16 yards on the rush there. He'll get a breather. Kalen Taylor and his hard-to-miss neon cleats in the ball game. He gets the carry, runs left. A lot of green grass in front of him. Trying to slip by the secondary, and he can't.
Looks like that was Javen Moore on the tackle.
Moore playing both ways.
You've got to put your best players out there on the field as much as possible, so I think Moore fits that category. He took a little bit of an awkward line to the running back, Taylor. Looks like Taylor may have beat him, but Moore caught up to him at the last second.
Taylor still in there. 1st and goal from the 7. Beatty back to Taylor. Looking for room, doesn't have much, but it doesn't matter. He gets close to the goal line. Brought down at the 2. Almost brought about 3 guys with him.
And for Peoria High, Larry, you have to finish off the tackles. And I think both teams, or both head coaches, would agree that you got to have those. In games like this, he was a contact at the 6, but they didn't bring him down until the 1.
Taylor with another give, and it looks like it's a touchdown. They fooled us. Kyle Beatty kept it, and he's in for 6, his 2nd running touchdown tonight.
Peoria High is probably just shaking their heads like, how many tricks can we get thrown at us in 1 year? Rochester brought all sorts of window dressing to them in week 1, and they couldn't quite handle it. Community doing a little bit of the same here. Beatty sneaks in for another score. Gets Community back to their 2-score lead.
Castro boots it through. And it's normal, 35 and Peoria 22. Just over 6.5 to play in the first half of the ball game. Big 12 conference action here. 2 teams ranked in their respective AP polls. Peoria in 5A, Normal Community up in 7A. They're both going to be forces to be reckoned with. 2 teams that nobody wants to see in the postseason. Get a look at that Upstream scoring drive. 8 plays, 56 yards. Ends with 7 points.
What took them so long?
It's all relative.
Just kidding. That was a good scoring drive for Community, and I think the later you get into this game, the more content you are with taking a little bit more time off the clock. Again, still well over a half of football left to play, but if they can put drives like that together in the second half, it makes it a lot harder for Peoria High, puts a lot more pressure on them to make a big play, which they certainly can do. Just the yin and the yang between these 2 teams on both sides of the football, Larry, just makes this game so fun to watch. We knew it was going to be fun coming in here, but just some high-level football. That's all you can really say right now.
And it's never too early to start thinking about that second half kickoff. Normal Community deferred the kick, so they'll receive it to open the second half, and that could loom large here in these last few minutes of the first half. It's false start, and we'll do it over.
You don't see that on kickoff too much, so probably don't have that one on your bingo card at home, but so that'll make it a little bit easier for the Lions. We'll see if they can.
Well, if you do have a bingo card, kudos. Maybe we'll have to whip one up sometime.
Yeah, maybe that's the next thing for CSM. We'll put it on CSM overtime on Friday morning. We'll make 6 of them for different games throughout the year. That'd be pretty fun, I think.
You know, coming over from the minor league baseball realm, rejoining football here, a lot of teams play baseball bingo.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in seeing what that looks like. Anyways, kickoff, take 2. Once again, it's the dynamic duo of Webb and Moore back deep. Line drive kick. Pops into the hands of Webb. He'll get another crack, and he hangs onto the football this time. Pushed out of bounds near the 35.
TQ Webb is really a big playmaker for Peoria High. Larry, again, he was another selection I had on my local high school
card.
Well, no, on my local high school football fantasy football team. He was my pick at wide receiver.
Another hypothetical.
Yeah, again, another hypothetical there, but he's again always a threat to reel off a big catch. And again, haven't seen him catch the ball much. Haven't seen Peoria throw it much either.
Again, a big storyline in this game. Breon Green, the sophomore quarterback, in for the senior 3-year starter, Tino Gist. Gist out from the start due to undisclosed reasons. First play of the drive goes to Ross. He picks up 2. Malik Ross, the heir apparent, and the always great running back room for Peoria High. Malachi Washington was the last in line last year. He was one of the best running backs in the entire state. But Tim Thornton said himself, he said, hey, if Ross was a starter, he would have had over 2,000 yards too.
And everyone last year was like, well, who's going to replace Eddie Clark? Well, Malachi Washington answered that question pretty quickly, and so will Malik Ross.
Green throws. Here's Moore. Turns upfield and falls just short of the sticks.
Another one of those quick screens, those quick out routes, the ones that are easy for Green to complete. Really low pressure throws and low risk as well. Just make your guys make a move, and Javen Moore, one of the shiftier players out there. You saw it on that kick return that he had for a touchdown. Feels like a myriad of scores ago.
It's 3rd and 1 after a gain of 7. Give up the gut. It's Ross. He keeps the legs moving, and he's past midfield. Fresh set of downs.
Ross, just a good downhill run right there. Had tons of speed. By the time he got into the line of scrimmage, really wasn't any stopping him.
Three receivers set, and the snap is fumbled. Green dives on it. It's going to be a big loss. Back to the other side of midfield and then some. That's the second botched snap we've seen tonight, and those are the little things that you cannot afford to mess up against a team like Normal Community.
No, well, Community I don't think they've came up empty on any scoring drives so far, so until Peoria High can get a stop, they have to keep pace with this offense. 2nd and 22 makes it a little bit harder.
It's a loss of 12. Green with a hard count, trying to get some of those yards back and cannot. He nearly fumbles it again, climbs the pocket, looking long, and the pass is broken up. Here comes the flag, it's pass interference. Moore was double covered there. That's a risky throw from Green, but in a way it pays off.
Yeah, I don't think Tim Thornton wants to see too many throws like that going on the sideline for the rest of the night. Normal Community student section, they are voicing their displeasure. We won't say what word they're saying, but they're not happy with the call. A ball that Javen Moore had to come back on, and you knew it was going to be a physical play there. Could have gone either way. Again, Russ have a better vantage point than we do in the booth, so Peoria High dodges a bullet. Now make it 2nd and a little bit shorter.
Pass interference in high school, just a 15-yard penalty. It is not a spot foul. So it's 2nd and 7. Back across midfield for the Lions. Franklin in motion. Ross up the gut before he's undercut by Blake Potts. But that will be enough for a first down.
And great push there by the Peoria High offensive line. He kind of ran into one of his own men. I don't know exactly who it was. Probably a good chance it was Jaquarius Green, the 6'3", 399-pound sophomore left guard, getting SEC looks, a massive presence on the O-line.
He got an FCS offer when he was 13. Speaking of undercuts, Blake Potts does it again. He topples Ross after a sizable game. 2nd and short coming up.
Credit to Ross for hanging on to the football, Larry. You know, we were here the last time that Peoria High was in normal, playing Normal West. They could not hang on to the football that night. Wet conditions, they had a bunch of turnovers.
Green keeps it this time, bounces to the outside, and he's dragged down. Cassell bowled him over. Now it's 3rd and short.
Cassell's had a good game as an all Big 12 honorable mention, a returning starter in the Normal Community secondary alongside the other cornerback returns Aiden Boundy. Boundy's had a pick 6.
Low snap. The give to Ross. Brought down short of the sticks. That's Dexter Niekamp, the ISU commit, in there on the tackle. 4th down coming up.
I talked with Normal Community players, including Dexter Niekamp, before the season. Larry, I said, what's a word to describe your team? He said, tough. Well, Dexter Niekamp is a tough player.
6'4", 230. As the community bench prompts the crowd to make some noise. 4th and 1. Green looking for blocks. He doesn't have much. Did he get enough?
Community signaling it's going to be their ball.
He did not get enough. Turnover on downs, but an injured Ironman down on the field. That's Caden Moss, a guy who's had a big impact, John.
Yeah, you don't want to see that if you're a community and you're obviously pumped up. You got the 4th down stop and have a chance to score before the intermission. Moss has been arguably the biggest presence on the defensive line for the Ironmen so far tonight. And for, teams like these, Larry, both of them, we know they're going to be good all season long. Really the last thing you want for either of these teams is, to have significant injuries or whatever. Hopefully Moss is all right. Now, staying healthy is a huge key for both teams. As they tend him. Hopefully, again, he's had a really good game so far. Had probably at least a handful of tackles. Again, we don't have official stats in front of us, but.
What do you mean, you're not counting? I thought that was your job.
I wish I could. There's all. It would be very hard to do on a night like tonight, Larry. By the time I, put the pen to paper, the next snap would already be off, and there'd be somebody in the end zone.
Moss is helped to his feet. Helped off the field by Brady Ogston. Fellow senior on defense. And again, that is not a piece that you want to see down for Normal Community.
No, it's certainly not. Again, hope that Moss can make his return to the game, or again, don't know if they'll hold him out, or we'll just see what they'll do with Moss. But again, the thing about Normal Community, Larry, is obviously Moss is a very good player, but they have lots of other very good players on this team as well. It comes with being a 7A school, the large roster, you got big numbers, and lots of skilled players as well. So even if you go down to number 2, maybe even number 3 on the depth chart, it's not a huge drop-off in production.
That's exactly what Tim Thornton pointed out. He said there is much less drop-off on this Normal Community roster as compared to the rest of the conference. Community with the play clock winding down. They get the snap off at 2. Beatty on the screen to Davis. Over the middle, he dropped the football. It's loose. Who's got it? It looked like Community fell back on it as Davis sucked it in after he coughed it up. John, this drive is massive considering Community gets the ball back to start the second half. If they score here, 3-possession game, they could start running away.
And they could, and that's just what they did last week. They ran away with 37 points in the second quarter. They were only up, or 36, I should say.
They keep it on the ground. Davis knocked down just past the line of scrimmage.
But again,
Cam Peterson in there on the tackle.
Yeah, back to the point again, this community offense, it really is like, a Peoria High offense. They really don't see too many offenses like in the Big 12. Well, Normal Community has kind of reached that level where Peoria High has been, and they can just score with a snap of the fingers, it seems like.
3rd and 6, biggest defensive play of the ball game yet for Peoria. Clock winding down.
Got to take a timeout here if you get a stop if you're the Lions.
Beatty with Davis, drops back to pass. Looks over the middle, through traffic, into the hands of Ivo Austin. And there's a flag.
So there's some pushing and shoving, I think, going around on the play. You can't have that if you're Peoria High with this drive being so important. You can't give him any free yards. He just gave up the pass to Austin. Got to give credit to him. He ran a great slant route. Beatty delivered another dot of a ball. Peoria High has got to keep their heads screwed on here.
Personal foul against the Lions. That'll tack on even more to a big gainer.
Yeah, you don't know if Ivo Austin's saying something or saying, you're talking trash, but it's always the guy that retaliates that always gets the flag, so you just got to let it go. Just focus on the next play. Gary Rutherford, he said that this team is us versus us. The only team that's going to beat us is ourselves, and that's what Peoria High just did there. They don't want to let it happen again.
Rutherford, the leader on this defensive unit, trying to come up with a massive stop before the half. Beatty back to pass again. Plenty of time. Over the middle again. It's Austin again. Towards the pylon. Touchdown.
That's number 2 for Ivo Austin on the night. Quite a drive from him. He just ran almost the same exact route. That little bit of a deeper slant just beat Spencer Russell, and there was nobody on that side of the field for Peoria High. Russell couldn't chase him down. And Community gets that all-important score. Now a 3-possession game, Larry.
First score in about 6 minutes. That's a long time in this game.
It really is.
The kick is low, gets over the line, and through the uprights, it is 42-22, 20-point game. And John, it's a tall task, but with 31 seconds left, it's almost a must-score situation for Peoria.
Yeah, you got to do either one of two things. You either have to score here, or you have to stop Normal Community on the first drive of the second half. So, either that or maybe you recover an onside kick to start the second half. Maybe that'll give you some momentum. I'm sure they will at least try it. As you look at the upstream scoring drive.
75 yards on 4 plays. Minute 41, little 2-minute drill with time to spare.
Exactly, and again, really the only downside for the Ironmen is that, you left Peoria High at 31 seconds, which is enough time for them to score. We've seen both teams strike lightning quick here tonight, but again, you got to get it stopped sooner or later, Larry. And this Peoria High defense, again, they pushed a shot out of Urbana. They gave up 32 to Danville, a team that Tim Thornton said that we're kind of almost have a curse when they play against it. They just don't play up to their expectations. So, but again, they locked down the second half. So the offense has been doing their job, but I think Gary Rutherford has got to get the Lions defense going in the second half. They got to, figure out who to, they've done a good job of covering Marquand Gary. Now it's Ivo Austin that's burning them. It's just kind of the trouble you deal with when you have so many playmakers.
Hopper down past the 20, and it's bumped out of bounds. And a flag is thrown. They're going to say it was a kick out of bounds. John, I don't know about that.
I think
it looked like there was a Lion right there. It was Cantrell who dove for it. And Community sideline is irate. It looks like they've got a get-back coach all set, dragging Drengwitz away.
Jason Drengwitz, at least when I've talked to him, has been a pretty soft-spoken guy, really nice fella, but he was pretty animated there. It looked to me like Cantrell touched that ball again. No instant replay. Maybe rewind your browsers to see. But I thought that.
And the flag is waved off.
Again, not sure what you're doing if you're at Peoria High. If you let that ball go, it was traveling out of bounds, Larry. It's not like he was just going to, make a U-turn and turn back into the field. That ball's going out of bounds. You would have had the ball at your own 40-yard line. Not a great decision there by the Lions to pick it up. I don't know what you're doing there. I really don't.
Jason Drengwitz, Community's coach, said one of the keys for them was using their head. They've been doing that well, and it's been Peoria with a few costly mistakes down the stretch of the first half. 1st and 10, deep in their own territory, 30 seconds to get to pay dirt. Again, Community receives the ball to open the second half, and it's going to be false start on Peoria.
And the story for the Lions, at least in the game against Rochester, Larry, is kind of, when it rains, it pours. When they compounded a lot of mistakes. Now you get, 2 back-to-back. You give up the touchdown. You don't let the ball go out of bounds. Then you have a false start. You can't have a sequence like that against a team like Community because you're just going to get burned. There's going to be no chance for you to come back. Still, again, half left to play, but the way that they've looked so far, it's going to be a steep hill to climb for Peoria High.
Illegal procedure and then unsportsmanlike conduct.
Wow, 2 more penalties. Illegal procedure and then unsportsmanlike conduct against Peoria.
Unreal.
Oh, boy. And at this point, John, do you maybe just run the ball up the gut and take it to the locker room?
I think so. Normal Community doesn't have enough timeouts to stop you. They can take one, maybe hope for a quick turnover.
About the 6-yard line. First down, Peoria High.
But man, not how you want to end the first half if you're Peoria High.
So it's first and about a cornfield. Backed up against the end zone. Community did pick up a safety last week against West. They give it to Ross. He sheds a tackle, but not a second one. Brought down past the 10.
Ball carrier Malik Ross. Brought down by Dexter Niekamp.
20 seconds and counting on the game clock.
You can see what you can run here. Maybe just give it to Ross, see if you can just break something, or maybe, I don't know, run a hook and ladder of some sort. I doubt Green's going to throw it down the field. He's had a couple wobbly throws.
With 2 on the timer, will they get it off? They do not. That's their first half. Back and forth in the first quarter, but for the second straight week, it's a dominant second quarter for Community.
Put up 43 points in the first half last week, 42 this week. Obviously, Peoria High has been able to put more points on the board than normal West did, but they have some stuff to figure out in the locker room. They got to screw their heads back on. They can't have those mistakes they had near the end. They played a really good first quarter. Their offense was looking good. Breon Green again, for the most part as a sophomore coming in, this performed admirably, but they either got to start completing some passes or they really just got to hope that Malik Ross can put the team on his shoulders in the second half. I loved what I saw at a Community, though. Kyle Beatty looks like the real deal, as if we didn't know that already. Marquand Gary, Ivo Austin, Tommy Davis, Kalen Taylor, they're all playing well for Normal Community.
Again, as we mentioned, that big headline, the reason that Green is playing is that Tino Gist is not playing. That senior quarterback, he's not in uniform. We can see him walking back to the locker room right now. And John, really, that's a huge difference maker.
That is, and if he's not in uniform, we're probably not going to see him in the second half. So it's going to be the Breon Green show. It'd be quite the story if Peoria High can win this game with a sophomore quarterback making his first start, kind of the same position that Kyle Beatty was in last year. Beatty wasn't able to get it done, but it turned out well for him. He's a great quarterback right now. Sooner or later, it's going to be Breon Green's chance to lead the offense after Gist graduates. So we'll see what this Lions offense can do. Again, they're not out of it for sure. If anyone can get 20 points in a hurry, it's Peoria High.
Community with a 20-point lead to the locker room, stepping aside. You're watching our Game of the Week on CIProud.com and Clutch Sports Media.
At Uptring in Washington, a guaranteed great selection means the time to buy is now. If you want a truck with guts and grit, see us first during heavy-duty diesel days with 30 HD diesels available at Uptring Chevy in Washington.
Mushanti Heating and Cooling specializes in commercial and residential heating and cooling services. We're a Tempstar dealer, but service all makes and models with products that always provide you the best solutions.
Give your local experts a call at Mushanti Heating and Cooling.
The Fox has become known for some of the best British and American pub fare around. And for you craft beer lovers, we have 25 ever-changing draft handles. Whether it's lagers, IPAs, stouts, or ciders, the Fox has something for everyone. Join us at the Fox Pub in North Peoria.
Central Illinois, we're going to overtime.
After 4 years of preps coverage in Central Illinois, Clutch Sports Media is ready for a new era. CSM Overtime.
What is CSM Overtime? We're going beyond the broadcast to give you in-depth coverage of your teams,
Your stories.
Your stats and standings.
your highlights and action shots.
With your subscription, you'll get to see news and feature stories from all sports, up-to-date stats from around the area, and thoughtful analysis from our team of experts.
As for our broadcast and social media coverage, it's only getting better.
With your support of Clutch Sports Media Overtime, we'll continue to grow our free broadcast coverage with more sports, more games, and more innovation.
And thanks to our partnership with Too Efficient Media, your social media feeds will be filled with Central Illinois' best sights and sounds.
CSM Overtime will also give you access to full galleries from some of the most talented photographers and videographers in our region.
As the new season approaches, it's time for more.
More action.
More stories.
More coverage of all Central Illinois sports. It's Clutch Sports Media Overtime.
Family banking from a name you trust. Hometown Community Banks. For over 6 decades, we've been here right where you needed us. High-quality banking services delivered by caring professionals. People just like you who live and love Central Illinois. It's a history we're proud of, and one we'll continue to offer to every person who walks through our doors. When you bank in your hometown, your money stays in your hometown. Hometown Community Banks, divisions of Morton Community Bank. Look for the clock tower and you'll know we have time for you.
Local 649 is looking for the next generation of apprentices. Between our commitment to safety and detail and state-of-the-art training facility, you will find more than just a career, but a family, creating legacies since 1896.
Welcome back to Dick Tharp Field, amidst the cornfields in Normal, Illinois, with Jonathan Michael, Larry Larson, our entire Clutch Sports Media team in with you. Glad you're with us at the half. And in case you're just joining us, maybe you're expecting a real close game. We expected a close game in this one, but it's a similar tune to last week, John. A well-played, closely contested first quarter, but then Normal Community off to the races in the second.
Yeah, and again, you gotta find a way to stop it. If you're a Peoria High, Normal West didn't find a way to stop it, and that probably wasn't the best sign for Peoria High because Normal West is a very good team as well. If they can't stop it, it's kind of like who in the Big 12 can. Peoria High needs to find an answer. They got to lock down on defense, and defensive line I think played really good back in the first quarter. We saw Debo Young, Tony Poland, Patrick Jordan, Kevin Roberts all making some good plays. Gary Rutherford was making some good tackles. Now, Normal Community, they're starting to kind of showcase their weapons and say, hey, try and defend this. We got this guy. We got this guy. We got this guy. Try and stop us, and Peoria High hasn't been able to so far. But again, that's why you got 2 halves of football. You got a chance to regroup in the halftime locker room, so we'll see what Tim Thornton has his guys doing in the second half.
As John mentioned a little while back, we don't have official stat tallies, but what jumps out, what we do have is touchdowns. Kyle Beatty, 4 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 touchdown catches for Ivo Austin, 2 for Marquand Gary. That all adds up to a whole lot of dominance.
Yeah, it really does. And Beatty, really was only technically accountable for 1 touchdown last week. That touchdown pass to Marquand Gary. He had the lateral back to Gary, which Gary ran in for a touchdown, so Beatty won't get credit for that. But he's really he's been a magnet for the end zone for Normal Community, and good credit to his receivers. Beatty's has some great throws. The offensive line, Larry, again, we talk about all these playmakers. None of that happens without the offensive line for Normal Community. You got Mac Brennan, the senior all-conference left tackle. He's leading that group. Quinn Butler playing good at center. Jason Drengwitz is really high on his guys on the right side. Tyler Rustemeyer, a senior right guard, and Braden Maznowski, a right tackle. So we got to give some love to the offensive linemen. They're giving them lots of room to operate.
They're playing a little basketball down in the student section.
Boy. Someone call up Slow Shay. He loved this.
Oh,
that's a skills mini hoop. I have one of those in my room. Normal Community students having fun tonight, and it's been quite an exciting ball game. They're just touchdowns left and right. So
I think that's
we'll
Jaheim Weber who's about to slam it down. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my.
It's going to be a preview of Normal Community's basketball team. I've heard they're the tallest by height in the nation for a high school starting lineup. By average height?
Certainly, I think they're the tallest in the state, for sure.
I've heard nation.
Yeah, they're going to have Jaheim Weber, obviously a big 6'10", 6'11 center. You got Noah Cleveland coming back after he had a one-year retirement from basketball. He's coming back to play for his
Michael
senior
Jordan-esque.
season. Yep, you got Nico Newsome, the transfer from Bloomington. He's got lots of size as a guard. He's going to be a really fun player to watch. He can line it up in a hurry. And you also got Braylon Roman coming back. You got Kobe Walker as well at forward. I mean, it's going to be a stacked basketball team for Dave Witzig and the Ironmen on the hardwood. We'll probably be down here quite a few times to see them play, maybe against Peoria High. You never know, but Normal Community is their basketball team may be just as good or maybe even better than their football team.
Well, one thing's for certain, we'll be at the State Farm Holiday Classic again, and Community is always in that very strong field. Should be a lot of fun again this year. John, do you watch a lot of NFL Red Zone by chance?
I do a little bit. I watched Red Zone this past week with one of my buddies, just kicking back and watching.
Well, you can create your own high school football Red Zone if you head over to our YouTube channel, Clutch Sports Media, and take a look at Pekin at Washington. Now, Middle Illini fans might think, oh, Washington, they're off to such a dominant start. That might not be close. Hold on a minute. With under 2 minutes left in the first half, it's Washington 14 and Pekin nothing. There's a ball game over there.
There really is, and, a lot of people were talking about, Pekin, they don't bring anybody back. They lost Tanner Sprecher. They lost Scotty Jordan. They lost Kanye Tyler, Bo Benassi, Braden Beckham, you name it. But, again, with Pekin being a 7-8 team, there's lots of good players that they have, just like the community, on their team that were just stuck behind some really good players last year. So they finally get a chance to kind of, showcase themselves this year. Washington playing without Kanan McQuarrie, so that's certainly, a factor as well. At least that's what we heard before kickoff coming out of Washington. But, Pekin coming off a 40-0 loss against Dunlap. I think their defense playing better, obviously, this weekend. Their offense under Luke Goss get things going. We'll see. Good game over there on ClutchSportsIL.com and our YouTube.
Another Middle Illini score just in from friend of the program, Adam Duvall, over at the Peoria Journal-Star. Morton 10, Metamora 6 in Morton. 6:44 left in the second quarter. Metamora just getting on the board. That's another dandy.
It's gonna be
that
really
you can't watch for free.
No
comment.
No, you can't. And yeah, we won't comment about that. But really great game going on in Morton. We knew it was going to be a great one. Our John Camosa will be providing coverage of that game. So head to our website, clutchsportsil.com/overtime. We're going to have a recap coming out of Morton. That's going to be a really big game for both teams. Morton trying to stay undefeated, Metamora trying to bounce back from that big loss to Washington last week. Both those teams, maybe not the favorites right now in the middle lineup, but they're certainly in the mix, and a win for both squads would go a long way.
Big 12 fans, back to you guys. It's Peoria Notre Dame 35 and Richwood 7 at the half. Speaking of more written coverage, Lateef Love is over there, and he'll have a recap from that game.
Certainly, CSM, 4 games at once tonight. The Middle Illini, the Big 12, you name it, we're all over the place. Another score that just came in right now from Dunlap, 27-0. Dunlap winning right now. I believe they are playing Limestone, if I'm not mistaken. So Eagles going to be favored big in that game. Looks like they're off to a great start. And East Peoria up 13-7 against Canton in the second quarter. So that's a big game for both teams. Again, probably not really any playoff stakes in that game, but both the teams want to win. Canton looking for their first. East Peoria looking for number 2 and to avenge a 13-12 loss to Limestone last week.
As you get a look at the lights of Bloomington Normal, Illinois. I think I see a gas station sign out there in the distance.
That might be a BP.
We have no official gas station sponsor, so if you own a gas station around here, give us a call. Email us, clutchsportsil@gmail.com.
Always open to, anybody. If you know anybody that has local businesses, friends that support high school athletics, again, feel free to contact us. We'd love to have you come on as a sponsor, and lots of different ways you can do that. Again, contact us, the best way to do so. We'd be happy to reach out to you and form a connection.
would be a lot of fun. We like to have fun with some of our sponsors and obviously reach those sponsors' goals. So again, our email, clutchsportsil@gmail.com. It's Normal Community 42, Peoria High 22 at the half. Normal Community will receive the opening kickoff of the half coming up in just a few minutes on CIProud.com.
Get in the game during the Total Sales Blitz at every Uftring Auto Group dealer because the selection you want is in stock and inbound. All-wheel drive SUVs, hard-working trucks, fuel-efficient cars, luxury, and more. And an all-star team that will make you a winner. UfteringAutoGroup.com.
Local 649 is looking for the next generation of apprentices. Between our commitment to safety and detail and state-of-the-art training facility, you will find more than just a career, but a family, creating legacies since 1896.
Mushanti Heating and Cooling specializes in commercial and residential heating and cooling services. We're a Tempstar dealer but service all makes and models with products that always provide you the best solutions.
Give your local experts a call at Mushanti Heating and Cooling.
Family banking from a name you trust, Hometown Community Banks. For over 6 decades, we've been here right where you needed us. High-quality banking services delivered by caring professionals, people just like you who live and love Central Illinois. It's a history we're proud of, and one we'll continue to offer to every person who walks through our doors. When you bank in your hometown, your money stays in your hometown. Hometown Community Banks, divisions of Morton Community Bank. Look for the clock tower and you'll know. We have time for you.
At Bob Grimm Chevrolet in Morton, we're excited about the all-new tracks, and they're selling as fast as they arrive. Just listen to Lee.
I looked everywhere for my 2024 Chevy Trax. I'm from Indiana, and I drove right over to buy it. Such a smooth and simple process.
That's the Bob Grimm way.
Big game here tonight at Dick Tharp Field in Normal. Glad you're with us. We're at the half between Community and Peoria High. Look at that sign, State Aspirations. They've only got one state title here in Normal in program history. But, John, this year it could be a little bit different.
Yeah, certainly, and going into the season, this Normal Community team, obviously, they came in very humble. I talked to them before the season about their state aspirations, and they kind of brushed it off, but I feel like they kind of knew that they have that potential to go that far. They've been in the state 3 times. They won in 2006 in Class 6A, 14-0 season under head coach Hud Venerable. They lost in the 6A state final in 2005 and in 1974. So, Community hasn't really gone to the state title game too often in their long, successful history. It's been a great tradition here at Community, but, this year, they might be changing that state title sign, or maybe at the very least a conference title sign. That wins total right there, 686. That's sort of got quite a workout already this year. Ironmen undefeated.
Yeah, it sure looks like it because those numbers might be a little crooked, but it's okay because they'll be hanging some new ones probably soon if we had a guess. Normal Community coming in at 5th in that Class 7A AP poll. Both teams out of the locker room getting their stretches in. Glad you're with us for the halftime break with John Michael, Larry Larson, Rodrigo Perez at the sticks, Josh Messenger calling the shots up here in the press box for our game of the week on CIProud.com. John, you look at the second half. We mentioned that the second half kickoff is going to go to Normal Community. That creates a massive, massive defensive possession for the Peoria High Lions, and it seems a few times whenever they've needed a stop, specifically on that last offensive possession from Normal Community in the first half, they weren't able to get a big stop.
No, they weren't, and they really haven't been able to so far tonight. And and again, memory could serve me wrong, but I don't think that Peoria High has forced a Normal Community punt. I don't think we've seen Will Castro punt the ball for Normal Community. So you gotta force some sooner or later. Maybe get a turnover as well. Maybe start doing the old Peanut Tillman, punch the football out of Tommy Davis's hands. Kyle Beatty is really trying to expect him to put a ball in a wrong place. You're probably not going to see that too often, but maybe if he does once and you can make him pay, it can really change the tide of the ball game for the Lions.
That's a great point. It's one thing to force a mistake. It's another thing to capitalize on it, and I think the Lions will have to do some capitalizing here soon. And again, you got to factor in the fact that the Lions don't simply kick the ball away, John. They'll always have a shot at it with those onside kicks.
Yeah, they certainly do, and there's been a couple ones that have been up in the air a little bit closer. Normal Community has done a good job so far, as the key for them coming in this game is recover those onside kicks. They've done it so far. They can do that in the second half. I think that's just another little detail that's going to be huge for them in winning this game.
Details, details, details. I'm sure that was kind of the message from Peoria head coach Tim Thornton in the halftime locker room, and that's what he told us, talking about that loss in week 1, a big loss to Rochester, a team of perennial powerhouse in Illinois. He said, despite the score, 40-14 in favor of Rochester, that was a game that was made up in the margins, those little things going wrong, and a few of those little things have gone wrong here in Normal tonight.
Yeah, in that game against Rochester, a lot of things went wrong for the Lions, starting with, they had 4 interceptions. Rochester defense, just completely, just surprised Peoria High and everything. So, obviously they didn't execute quite as well. Again, execution is going to be huge for the Lions. And with them running the ball so much, a lot of it's going to come down to their offensive line. Can their hogs up front, their guys like A.J. Roscoe, Jaquarius Green, Jameer Fuller and company, can they get some good pushes and, let Malik Ross do some work?
Time for the onside kick. Flag flies, and it was going to be a false start against Peoria.
That's number 2 of false starts on kickoffs tonight.
I think I've got a bingo.
I think so. We just about seen it all in this game, Larry. Kick return for a touchdown. Bunch of touchdowns, that's for sure.
So there will be a re-kick.
And Timmy Trumpet comes back.
Where's Edwin Diaz? Of course, on the injured list all season long for the New York Mets. Baseball aside, this one's going to go a little bit deeper. Hauled in, and it's Ivory on Austin, who takes the knee.
It's probably going to be the, at least if I had to guess, maybe one of the worst starting field positions for the Ironmen so far. Their own 38, Peoria High not on-siding there, so maybe it just kind of shows that, hey, we're going to make you work for a couple extra yards. Maybe try and buy more chances for your defense to make a play.
Kyle Beatty, the second-year starter, leads his unit out there, along with Tommy Davis, the senior back. Beatty, the star of this game, 4 passing touchdowns. He gives this time, and it's Davis who's knocked down.
I saw some more pushing coming on from Peoria High's defense, Larry. I don't know what to say at this point. I mean, they're lucky they didn't get a flag there, but you got to stop the trash talk. You're down by 20 right now. You're trying to come back. You want to play with fire, but you want to also know when to rein it in as well.
It's a loss there. They can talk a little bit after that nice defensive play. 2nd and 12. Beatty over the middle. It's hauled in. Hardiman down to the 35.
Is this going to be where each receiver gets their quarter? They had Marquand Gary in the first, Ivory on Austin in the second. This is going to be Caden Hardiman's third quarter. You never know. I mean, every catch that the receivers have made, they've been on the run and they've brought it in. Nice hands.
Ball is handed to Davis. He turns the corner. 2 defenders to beat. And Rutherford turning on the Jets to save a touchdown there.
And again, credit Rutherford for making the side piece, but all over the place for Peoria High as he always is. But on those runs like that, I feel like he shouldn't be the ones making the tackle. Where's their secondary? They got to find someone in their secondary to make a tackle.
1st and goal on the 2. Davis catching his breath. He remains in. It's Beatty on the keeper. His 3rd rushing score tonight. He's doing it all.
And again, Beatty has really only carried the ball around the goal line, but it's still been enough to fool the Peoria High defense. They didn't get that all-important stop, Larry. Now they're looking at a 26, maybe now a 27-point deficit. if you give a mouse a cookie, well, Normal Community took that cookie and they want more.
Extra point is good. Another chip on that cookie. It's now 49-22 Normal Community. The last 3 scores belong to the Iron.
Yeah, and again, I still wouldn't go anywhere at home. Again, we saw Peoria High. We were like, hey, they need to respond back in the first half. That's when Javen Moore won 93 yards back to the house on the kick return. So, again, they can get it back. Again, I'm not worried about the Peoria High offense right now. They just got to find, some way to stop the Ironmen on defense. See what they can do. Again, they're going to get a chance. It feels like they haven't had many chances to make some plays. Normal Community has obviously had back-to-back possessions now, so they get their turn. They've had a chance to rest, talk things over on the sidelines. It's like Javen Moore may have been kind of punching his helmet, trying to fire himself up a little bit for Peoria High.
Moore, the right side returner. And once again, it's TQ Webb on the left. Castro with a very strong kick. It's Moore who lets it go for a touchback. First touchback we've seen tonight.
Yeah, we haven't. Will Castro, we haven't talked about him a lot as well. We usually don't talk about kickers much in the high school broadcast, especially
when Peoria High's playing.
Yeah, that is true, but also at this level, you don't see many real solid, bona fide good kickers. Will Castro is one of them. Replaces Ryan Milmore, who's now kicking in college for Iowa State. He's a Cyclone now. Saw him a couple weeks ago, so his time will be coming over in Ames, but he was a heck of a kicker and a punter for Normal Community. Will Castro, the sophomore who they brought over from the Ironman soccer team, has filled in really nicely. Jason Drungwitz has been really happy with how he's kicked the ball so far.
Only a sophomore. Who knows what could happen? Breon Green, the quarterback, gives up the gut to Ross. There goes Ross across the 50. One man to beat. And it's Buckner who chases him down. An impressive tackle. But an even more impressive run from Malik Ross, who says, hey, we're not going down easy.
No, and that's just what you want if you're the Lions. You need a play to kind of fire up your sideline, fire up your fans over there, get your team excited and everything. Now they feel like they have some momentum, and that's a very dangerous thing to have if you're the team going against a team with momentum. Peoria High trying to snatch it right back.
Lions inside the red zone. Green slings it out wide. They were looking for more on the screen, and he couldn't haul it in.
And a lot of those screen passes out to the sidelines, and those are safe throws for sure. I definitely don't mind them. I like to see him maybe switched up a little bit, maybe go with some quick man beaters, maybe like some drag routes, some slant routes across the middle. Don't want to throw it into traffic, but if you can get a guy open.
Green looking to the end zone, wide open. It's Sean Franklin who takes a leisurely stroll in for 6.
He could have run an article on CSM Overtime and still walked into the end zone by the time anyone would have gotten there. Just wide open there, brought in the cornerback there on the blitz. I think that may have been Anton Cassell coming in, but you take that risk if you're a Normal Community. You obviously don't want to give up the touchdown. Nice throw there from Breon Green. I'm sure it's got to feel good getting that one to Sean Franklin. Maybe sometimes the forgotten receiver in that room for the Lions. He certainly has lots of skill, had a touchdown catch last week as well.
Man in motion, it's a keeper for Green, and he's wrapped up and shoved back. 2-point conversion is no good. So it's Ironman 49, and now the Lions 28. Trailing by 21. Crazier things have happened.
No,
plenty of ball game left.
Yeah, 10-27. Again, you're nowhere near the end of the third quarter. You get 2 scores back, and we're right back to where we were back in that super exciting first quarter, Larry. Where it was just a 1-score game. Both teams scoring left and right. Don't go anywhere, folks. This game is far from over. This Peoria High team has something to prove, and that touchdown drive, scoring drive brought to you by Upstream Auto Group, is going to fire them up. 3 plays, 80 yards in 35 seconds. We've had 4 scoring drives tonight, Larry, by my count, that have been in under a minute, not including that kick return for a touchdown by Javen Moore.
A big shout out to our stats and research department, doing a lot of good work tonight. Another onside kick for the Lions. Barry Hill ready. Little dribbler. Will it go 10 yards? It does, and a scrum. Who's got it? The Lions think they do. And it's Lions football. Don't close the browser just yet.
That's just how Peoria High can hurt you when they're up. They can run away with the game when they're down. They can get right back in it doing stuff like that.
Now, John, just after they signaled Peoria High ball, the officials got together at midfield. One of them started pointing the other way. The other started pointing the other way. But the official call stands. It is Peoria High football at the 50. That traveled just far enough.
That was an absolute beaut of an onside kick there from Barry Hill, as they'd say in Christmas Vacation, she's a beaut, Clark.
So it's 1st and 10 at the 50. Still got a few months before that movie is in season.
It's always in season, at least for me.
No vacation for the Peoria offense. Green sends a man in motion, rolls out of the pocket. He's got plenty of time, throws downfield. It's tipped around and in and out of the hands of Brady Ogston. They almost got that thing right back.
Yeah, Ogston has been a menace on the defensive side for Community. His first start at the varsity level was against Peoria High last year as well, just like Kyle Beatty. And so far this year, he's had 2 pick sixes, one against Sacred Heart Griffin, one against Champaign Central. They moved him to inside linebacker this year as after outside linebacker last year. He's been a big part of that Normal Community defense.
Green throws it outside. It's bobbled around and eventually hauled in by Moore. Gain of 4 or 5. 3rd and medium coming up.
Javen Moore. Brought down by Tommy Davis.
John, a lot of talk about Normal Community's offense tonight, but their defense, I guess you could call them the Iron Curtain. 6.6 points per game allowed coming into action. A little bit more tonight, but I think that's acceptable against this Peoria High offense. There goes Ross. He rumbles his way past the chains. Peoria is going to move him.
And again, so far, so good for Peoria High in the second half. He went down and scored. Obviously gave up that opening score. But since then, you're getting good runs with Ross. You don't need a huge player right now. Like you say, you can't kill an elephant with one shot. So it's like Buckner is down for the Ironmen, but they're just chipping away, and you gotta realize that there's lots of time left in this game. I think they're doing a good job of managing that, not forcing themselves into biting off more than they can chew. They want bites of that cookie that they gave back to Normal Community.
Oh man, it looks like Buckner's going to be okay. Off the field under his own power, certainly a little shook up. So it's going to be 1st down for the Lions. Ball on Normal Community's 34-yard line. Breon Green in his first varsity start, playing in place of Tino Gist, the 3-year starting quarterback, not playing tonight. Reasons unknown. Those reasons don't matter. Got to get the job done no matter what. Green hands off to Ross. Plunges into the line, and he's brought down after a gain of a few. That's Niekamp in there for the tackle.
Yeah, Ross, running good. He's getting a lot more. He's being fed a lot more than he was last week. Obviously, he didn't really need to. The damage was done early for Peoria High, that 92-0 win. They led 78-0 at halftime, so they put the backups in for, I don't know, I wasn't at that game. They probably had him in the second quarter maybe. He only had 7 carries, a lot more tonight.
Green with play action. Slings it to the sideline. Is he in bounds? You bet he is. Javen Moore. Little toe drag swag.
Pass complete on the sideline to number 3, Javen
The chains
Moore.
keep on moving.
And Javen Moore, Malik Ross, find your playmakers and get them the ball. That's what Peoria High has done. Almost all of Green's passes so far. He's been out of the pocket tonight, but he's has some good throws on some rollouts.
Low snap, and a give to who else but Ross. Another big run. Is it enough to move the chains again? Let's find out. No. Just shy, second and short.
Fun fact about Malik Ross, they call him Astro. That's his nickname.
Is he a big Travis Scott fan?
Could be. Maybe a big fan of Houston baseball, although I'd have to question that.
Franklin in motion. Another low snap. It's Green on the keeper. Sidesteps a few tackles, takes a big hit, but he gets past the chains. Nice job by Green to just grin and bear it for the first down.
Yeah, I was going to say, Larry, I really like that decision from Green. I don't know if that was designed or not, but they put the ball up, he recovered, and he looked confident on that run, made a nice little cut, picked him up an extra couple yards.
First and goal from the 5. Lions trying to get back within 2 possessions. The ball goes back to Ross. He slips after a gain of 1.
It's like Cooper Caraway. The first time we called his name, I think he was the first one in there. First team all Big 12 returner for the Ironmen. They had multiple. They got Montoya, Niekamp, Caraway, Castle. All conference selections from last year. You mix in some other guys as well.
Lions bring in the heavy set. They give to Ross, and he's swallowed up. The Lions brought in not one but 2 fullbacks there. Isaac Williams and Patrick Jordan. It didn't do him much good, at least there.
Yeah, Normal Community was ready for it. They probably are going to figure that this close to the goal line, the Lions are going to run the ball. At the moment, Rayford was wide open. Now Bounty's coming over to cover him. We'll see what they do here on 3rd and goal from the 4. Again, it's tough to pass when you're so close to the goal line. Less ground to cover. I'd guess another run, but we'll see.
It's a 4-receiver set. Green looking to pass. Looks left for 6. Jalen Rayford hauls it in. Sophomore to sophomore. And we've got a ball game again.
A little taste of the future there for Peoria High, and we're not playing a JV game, folks. These guys are stepping up in a big-time game, getting the Lions right back into it. They march right down the field. Nice little 9-play scoring drive, or 8 plays, I should say. I didn't think they were going to throw it. Rayford just beat his man. I think he fell down and took advantage of it.
Another 4-receiver set. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Back to the pass. Green finds his man for the 2-point conversion. He slid it through traffic to TQ Webb. And it's 49-36. What a response from Peoria.
I kind of had a funny feeling, Larry, that they were going to, punch back in this, going back to our boxing match analogy.
It's a long boxing match.
It really is. This one's been a marathon for sure, but there's been no shortage of punches thrown. It's important that Peoria High got those 2 right back in a row.
Another Uftring scoring drive, 8 plays, 348. A little slower and more methodical there. And how about the job that Breon Green has done in the second half, stepping in for Tino Gist?
And again, Green, I don't think he, at least by my count, he's not responsible for any turnovers so far. That's a heck of a job. Even just that in itself is commendable from a sophomore quarterback making his first start against the number 5 team in Class 7A. Tremendous job by him in the absence of Tino Gist. See what Berry Hill can do again on the onside kick.
Another dribbler. It dribbles around. It looks like Community's got it this time, and they do. Jace Wilson with good hands. And now it's Community's turn for a response.
Now in a little too close for comfort if you're a Community. I'm sure Jason Drangwich would have been none too pleased if they weren't able to bring that one in. Credit to Wilson, the linebacker. We're getting to see who the Ironmen's hands team are. So again, back to Peoria High's defense. Can they finally get one stop? Even just one. They can just get one stop
It would change the game.
It'd be a one. They can score. They can be a one-possession game. You're right.
Beatty back to pass. Pressure coming. It's a screen, and it's complete to Gary. He tiptoes out of bounds. Escorted out by Peoria High secondary member.
Second and 1.
Spencer Russell.
A little behind the scenes action. Our roster taped up on the wall is torn at number 1.
That would be my fault. I will take accountability for that. A little mistake before the game.
Stats and research department failing us there.
Oh, boy.
Handoff goes to Davis. He's wrapped up, but it's past the sticks.
Handoff to Tommy Davis.
Gary Rutherford in there. Helps up his opponent and his teammate.
By Devo Young, number 99. 4-yard gain on the play. First down.
So it's 1st and 10.
Ironmen.
Ball on the Lions 39. Now it's Normal Community trying to slow things down a little bit. Who could blame them? Nursing that 2-score lead.
I think we'll see both teams maybe slow it down just a little bit. Again, anybody's available for a big play threat, though, at any given point.
Blitz coming. Pass bobbled. In and out of the hands of Hardiman.
Pass intended for Caden Hartman falls.
Not many incompletions tonight for Cal Beatty, and again, that's another really good throw. Just sipped it in there a little bit too hard, but again, nice throw. We would have been able to pick up some nice yards after catch if he was able to hang on to that one. So again, if you're Peoria High, you got to take advantage of that because Beatty hasn't had many incompletions. Now they're behind schedule a little bit on 2nd down. Can they keep them behind schedule and force them to maybe no more than a 4 or 5 yard gain?
Hardiman in motion. The handoff goes to Davis, playing a little pinball. He's dragged down right at the chains, and he'll move him. It's a 1st down run.
I just don't know how you stop Tommy Davis. I mean, he's got so much speed. He's got, every move in the book. He's tough to bring down now this year. I'm trying to think of an NFL comparison. Maybe a little bit like Austin Eckler, just, a little bit of a do-everything guy. I mean, he's too agile to be like Derrick Henry. He's also, a little bit more, has more power than, maybe some of those pass catcher guys that you see. So,
well, Tommy Davis recently had a Q&A with Rivals, and he said his favorite player, Marshawn Lynch.
How about that?
Deep pass to the end zone. Just incomplete past Austin in traffic. He wanted the flag and didn't get it.
I believe that was Demarion Zapata or Darion Mays, a sophomore in coverage. Nice job by not picking up the flag there. Played physical without fouling, to maybe use some basketball analogy there, but Mays, one of a couple younger parts of the Lions secondary alongside their strong safety, Demarion Zapata, also a sophomore.
Javen Moore also in coverage back there. 2nd and 10. Another give. Davis slips by. He's got more to beat. He jukes him out into the end zone. Tommy Davis, fittingly, with a TD.
I don't think those initials were an accident. Shout out to Tommy Davis's parents. They knew to have his name begin with a T. He is fired up right now at the Normal Community sideline. Jumping up and down, bobbing his head. Look at the student section. Yeah, you're going to look at him there. He's having a heck of a game. One of the premier players to watch, I'd say, in the entire state. He's for real, ladies and gentlemen.
Kick through the uprights, and Normal Community comes up with that big extra point. John, there were multiple stages to that run. Davis had to break a few tackles just past the line of scrimmage, and then he had more. One man to beat, juked him out.
Yeah, and again, I thought there'd be a good chance that Davis would be brought down. He had 2, maybe 3 guys converging on him near the line of scrimmage, kind of like, seemingly almost ducked out of it and emerged free, and then he had more one-on-one, and, Javen Moore is quite a good athlete, but trying to stop Tommy Davis in the open field, good luck.
Uftering scoring drive, 6 plays, 51 yards, minute 23, and 6 points for that man.
56 for the Ironmen in only 2.5 quarters against number 5 team in the state in Class 5A.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Close.
Pardon the error.
Does one spot really matter in week 4? Probably not.
No, not really. Again, the AP poll is very subjective. Even the divisions, like there's more so suggestions. But
kickoff flies deep. Moore already has one kickoff return for a touchdown tonight. Throws a man down to stay on his feet. Now the pile is pushed just past the 30-yard line.
Number 3, Javen Moore.
Moore's been a good kick returner for the Lions. Always helps to get your team in good field position and showed some toughness there. Maybe had some adrenaline, wanted to prove something after getting juked out by Davis on the offensive side. And again, I'm sure Javen Moore's probably pretty gassed right now, playing on both sides now, and with how fast-paced this game has been. Now you have a chance to get a drink of water or Powerade or whatever you're drinking on the sideline.
Lions will start the drive from their own 31. Pressure back on Breon Green, sophomore quarterback. Here's Ross. Short gain.
Not much doing there. Nice job by the Normal Community D line, really sort of just getting together and forcing the stop. Jason Drugwitz said that those guys, they said that we need to play physical in between the tackles because Peoria High is just going to run it right up the gut. They've done a pretty good job so far. Obviously, Ross is going to gash them a couple times and has so far, but by and large, not a bad effort from their D-line.
Snap almost slips, but they get it to Ross, and he slips just past the chains before he's eventually brought down by a few Ironmen.
9-yard gain on the
if you're a Peoria High, again, I certainly don't think that if they scored on this drive, they would take until the end of the quarter. But you want to get it, I think, to probably within 2 scores, at least by the end of the third. So if they do score, that means that don't give the Ironmen the ball back and let them score before the fourth quarter.
Green throws the screen, and Webb is wrestled out of bounds.
The wordsmith, Larry.
I wouldn't go that far.
Larry Longfellow Larson.
Oh man, now it's getting out of hand. 2nd and 12.
Pass complete for a 2-yard loss. 2nd and 12.
Ross the back, behind Green. Webb in motion, give up the gut on a little misdirection. Ross able to recover those gains, rather the loss. And it's going to be about 3rd and 8, and these spots are tough. Again, with that inexperienced quarterback, Green has made some good throws tonight. Can he deliver again?
Well, again, Peoria High doesn't punt the ball. I think what you do here is, you run up the gut with Ross. Try and get at least close to the to the first down. If you don't get it, maybe, then you may consider passing on 4th down, but, at least maybe see what you can get here with Ross. Put yourself at a 4th and long.
Webb gets the give this time. Gets a block, finds the corner. Trying to find those sticks. He's going to be a little bit short. But, John, now it's 4th and manageable.
Yeah, not the guy we expected to carry the ball, but one that you're comfortable with handing the ball off to nonetheless. Webb with good speed found the outside. 4th and a long one, it looks like.
Crowd coming back to life.
Huge play here for their offense. It almost feels like they almost need to convert.
Franklin in motion. Hard count, and they jumped. Jalen Rayford, the false start at wide receiver, could be costly.
Illegal procedure against the Lions.
And the classic you can't do that chants come out. And again, Larry, you're going into halftime. We talked about compounding your mistakes and just clean up the details. Peoria High didn't do that very good. They did that very well for the first 10 minutes of this third quarter. There, that cost him.
Listen to this crowd. Snap is fumbled. Green trying to make something happen. Did he make the catch? Yes, he did. Javen Moore, incredible.
Pass complete to number 3, Javen
I mean, Javen Moore is, again, at a loss for words about what he can do. He's made catches in traffic. He's got speed. Obviously, again, got burned there by Tommy Davis, but he's not a defensive player by trade. He's a wide receiver, and he's a heck of a good one at that. Peoria High really glad he came over from Richwoods at the start of the season.
Green rolls left. Pressure coming, and as he throws, and it's picked off. Pick 6, Dexter Niekamp.
Talk about the right place at the right time, Larry. This is the first time I think we saw Green roll out to his blind side. I didn't see who hit him, but he was being chased down like he was some prey. Got hit and then popped it up in the air. Brady Augustin was the one that chased him down. Popped up in the air. Dexter Niekamp right there behind him, the trailer, and takes it to the house. That, not going to say it's a dagger yet, but that is very costly for Peoria High.
Injured Iron down on the ground. Ogston hobbled to the sideline, and the celebration is resumed.
Brady Ogston now in at least 3 out of the Ironmen's 4 games is making a play on defense that results in a score. Wasn't responsible for it this time, but created the pressure, and he was just chasing down Green. Green had no idea what was coming, turned around the other way, and Dexter Niekamp took care of the rest.
Offside against Peoria High. That'll move Community a yard closer here for the extra point. Wow, what a play from Community's defense. Dexter Niekamp, defensive lineman, a bruiser you could say, but great hands. And he turned down the Jets.
He did. He's a great athlete. He's not just brute force. He plays a little bit tight end, or at least did last year for Normal Community. So, and ISU is getting a good one just down the road.
Extra point once again is good. Castro remains perfect on the evening. And Community starting to creep away in this one again.
Left in the third quarter, Normal Community 63, Peoria High 36.
So, John, the Lions came out of the locker room with a strong response. What do you say now if you're Tim Thornton and company?
Well, now I'd say at this point, you got to start going quick. You're down by 4 scores. So the Lions, they can definitely march down the field in, a minute or 2 and score. But, at this point, when you give the ball back, assuming you don't recover the onside, you got to get some quick stops. You got to get some 3 and outs. Peoria High hasn't even really gotten even close to forcing the 3 and out all night long. You're going to have to probably at least force 1 or 2.
Well, I think we know what these Normal Community students think will happen. As they make that clear. Castro set for the kickoff. Drills it deep, tumbling towards the end zone, and it's bobbled. It's a touchback off Moore's hands. Long way to drive for the Lions once again.
Yeah, again, another detail, Larry. Just didn't bring in the catch, cleanly, and who knows, maybe Moore would have been tackled before the 20 anyways. But knowing how shifty he is, probably would have at least advanced it a little bit past that. So that'll hurt him a little bit. They need a response, Larry, I think, before the end of the quarter. If not, you're in a really tough position. Not saying it's impossible, but you kind of have list of goals. Right now, I'd say get a score before the end of the third quarter. That's goal number 1.
Goal number 2, score again.
Goal number 3, score again. Some other rules to get some stops in there as well.
Run up the middle. There's a start. Malik Ross. Gain of 14.
And Ross had a good game so far. He's been a workhorse. Really, other than maybe a couple carries from Green and that end around from Webb, no one really else has carried the ball for the Lions tonight.
Ross with another carry, and he is wrestled down by Brady Ogston. Looks like he's all good.
I would think so. This Normal Community defense, Larry, what they've been able to do that Peoria High hasn't is, make tackles on guys after, for 3 or 4 yard gains. Every time that Tommy Davis is touching the ball, he's breaking out for at least 8 or 9.
Ross with a steady diet of carries. Picks up no gain.
Hand up once again to Ross. No gain on the play.
Jason Wilson fired up after a tackle there. 3rd and 5 coming up. Under 2 minutes, approaching 1 minute to play in quarter number 3. Glad you're with us on your Friday. Big 12 conference action. I think big would be an apt describer of this game. Green looking to pass. It's tipped around away from Javen Moore.
Blake Potts almost came away with another interception there. And, Larry, and at that point, if, he would have just picked it off and Normal Community would have gone down and scored, I think he probably could have shut out the lights for this one. Peoria High got, again, lucky. They've had a couple miscues by the community defense, but they haven't been able to bring in a pick. You got to take advantage of getting that second life now here. It's 4th and medium from the 40.
And it might be 4th and ball game. Hard to say that in the third quarter. Time is certainly not Peoria High's friend. Low snap. Green flings it out, and it's dropped. Turnover on downs for the Lions. And that iron curtain for community stands tall in the second half.
Falls incomplete.
The snaps again, another detail. And just hasn't quite always been there for Peoria High. There's, been at least 5 or 6 low snaps where Green has had to, either readjust or lost control of the football. It's just something that, at Peoria High, at least compared to last year, they didn't do very much. Again, got a sophomore quarterback behind center and a new setter as well, Kamar Montford, the junior, but it's stuff that you want to clean up. Again, it's still week 4. Lots of time left in the season for the Lions, but there's some stuff to do for the playoffs.
Beatty in play action. Throws long, looking for the dagger, and it's swatted away. Spencer Russell in coverage.
And Russell's been tested for sure against, Marquand Gary. It's, never an easy night when you see number 3 in orange and black lining up across from you, but Gary's had some big plays. Russell's made some good plays as well. It's been a matchup that's been fun to watch all night long.
Community with that 2-back set that makes things so difficult on any defense. Can't sell out on one running back because they're both so talented. And Kalen Taylor and Tommy Davis. Beatty with the give. It's Taylor, slips upfield for a few.
Now for Peoria High, it's an unfamiliar sight for them tonight. They're putting the community in a 3rd and long. Now's their chance to convert. I know they're kind of feel like they're maybe slipping down a slippery slope right now, but if you make a play here, that would be big. I'm not sure if community would go for it right now, or maybe try and play field position and pin the Lions deep.
They are going to let the clock wind down on quarter number 3. Lions with a big response out of the halftime locker room, but the highlight of that third quarter belongs to the guy who's staying home for college. Dexter Niekamp with a pick six, and Normal Community gets a standing ovation as we head to the fourth. It's Iron 63, Lions 36.
Has protected Illinois citizens for over 40 years with regard to dangerous drugs and has taken on the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world and have won cases for Illinois residents.
Jay Jansen. One name says it all.
Harlan Bank and Trust Company is a community bank with total assets of $5 billion.
We're back at Dick Tharp Field in Normal. Since these two teams last got together, there haven't been a lot of losses. 10-3 record for Peoria, 9-1 record for Normal, and it looks like Normal Community is on its way to 10-1 tonight as they lead 63-36, 12 minutes to go. Beatty chased out of the pocket right away, and he flings it away. Good pressure there in the backfield.
So the Lions got that third down stop. So, again, first very long list of things to do for the Lions, but certainly it helps. Looks like they're going to maybe bring on the punt unit. But Larry, going back to since the last meeting, the only loss for Community, they lost only by 1 point to the best team in Pekin history at pretty much almost at the buzzer. They could have reeled off a couple more wins last year, and I know that loss, it really fired up this Ironmen team that brings back 34 seniors. So that loss, definitely hurt, but probably did him some good as well.
Beatty is the punter, something to monitor. It looked like he was hobbling a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Is that ball into the end zone, or will it be at the 1?
It looks like.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my lordy.
He can do it all. Kyle Beatty.
I mean, look at that. Look at that shot right there from our camera riders. You can't get much closer than that. Great camera work there by our crew. The ball boy, he's pumped up about that punt. I mean, that ball is maybe 2 feet max from the end zone, and now Peoria High is going to have to go over 99 yards if they want to score. They also got to avoid a safety.
3 rushing scores for Beatty, 4 passing touchdowns, and you can add a punt to that resume.
Larry, I know we're both in a fantasy league that has punters. As a league commissioner, I pride myself in being a league that has punters. Kyle Beatty would pick up, I believe, 2 extra fantasy points for that punt, pinning him inside the 20.
Don't see that often in the NFL in addition to those passes. Give up the gut here. Ross stays away from the safety. A little pushing and shoving after the fact. No flag.
And then for Peoria High, again, it's not going the way you want the scoreboard right now, but, you got to hold your head high. You got to, obviously, I'm sure you're upset, you're frustrated. It's a lot easier for us to say here in the booth, but you got to, respect your opponent, and Normal Community's played a great game. So just don't let your head get the best of you. Try and make some good happen here in this fourth quarter. There's certainly some good in the third.
There goes Ross as he's leveled.
That was like
my oh my.
That was the freight trains of Alex Binion and Malik Ross colliding.
It's a first down, though, for the Lions. Here's Ross again. He shoved forward a little bit. Short gain on first down.
And again, for Peoria High, clock is certainly winding. It's not stopping, and at least hasn't lately. So, I don't think that Peoria's waving the white towel, but you got to get going here if you want to score. Again, down 4 scores on the road. Sophomore quarterback
Flag flies. And it looks like this is going to move the Lions back. False start against Peoria. John, I didn't see exactly who jumped there, but it looked like they pointed at Javen Moore. Didn't look like he moved all that much, if at all.
No, again, I didn't quite see it, but again, something that Peoria High will just have to try and overcome now, just outside of their own 10.
Green calls out the play call. Waves Franklin in motion. Hard to count. And that time it's Community who jumped. Or was it? No, it's false start again on Peoria. Things going from bad to worse for the Lions.
Yep, and again, just goes back to compounding mistakes. And that's the thing that Peoria High cannot do. We saw it against Rochester. We saw it again here tonight. Again, it's tough because, you know, with the two games that Peoria High played very well, we weren't there broadcasting for, but, you know, against these strong opponents, these teams that you're going to see like in the playoffs, obviously Community in 7A, Peoria High in 5A, you just can't do stuff like that.
Ross wrapped up in the backfield. That's Isaiah Grief, the senior.
And Grief, kind of the guy we haven't mentioned on the D-line for Normal Community, another one of their many seniors. Now 3rd and 16, backed up. I don't know if you trust Green to maybe, you know, run out of the pocket. You don't want to risk another safety, but at this point, you know, what do you have to lose?
Exactly. Almost no choice. We'll see what they dial up. 3 receiver set. Hard snap. Green out of the pocket. Throws it deep. Looking for Webb. He hauled it in. Is he in bounds? No, incomplete. An impressive catch, but Webb couldn't stay in the field of play. 4th down coming up.
That was a heck of a throw by Breon Green. Give him credit for that. Rolled out of the pocket, got nice protection from the offensive line. Kind of got to see what, you know, sort of arm that he has. And a nice catch also by TQ Webb. Again, those balls aren't easy to catch. You're looking over your shoulder or the man right behind you. I believe it's been Aiden Boundy that's been drawing the assignment against Webb tonight. He's done a great job.
Need to convert if you want to have any remote chance here if you're the Lions, and they punt it away. Takes a Peoria bounce before it's knocked down by Sean Franklin at the 40-yard line.
First down, Ironmen.
Under 9 minutes to play now. And I think the main objective here for Community is going to be to kill some clock.
15,000 more than the national average, just a few years out of school.
Looking ahead for Normal, a team that, John, now that they've gotten past Peoria High, always a very, very tall task. They've got a real chance to run the table in the Big 12.
Yeah, look at their games coming up. You know, obviously I think Urbana, Manual, they should take care of business. Bloomington, a crosstown rival, it's going to be fired up to play them. Got to watch out for the Purple Raiders. Again, I think Community going to be favored heavily in just about all of their games for the rest of the season. They may be looking at 9-0. They got through their gauntlet, Larry. 3 out of 4 games to start. SHG, Normal West, Peoria High. They passed that test with flying colors.
Tommy Davis slammed down in the backfield by Cam Peterson. And it's a loss of 2. 2nd and 12 coming up. Hey, that Bloomington team, last we heard, beating Danville across town tonight. If they win, they're in a pretty good spot to make the postseason for the first time in a handful of years.
They are, and that's the game that Bloomington has to win. Looking at their rest of the schedule, I'll pull it up at the moment.
Beatty chucks it into traffic, and it's knocked down by Patrick Jordan. Some flags here.
Pass falls incomplete.
And it's waved off.
Purple Raiders up 17-14 against Danville, but Larry, look, get a load of these next 3 games for Bloomington. They're at Community, then they're at Centennial, who's also undefeated right now. Then they host Peoria High. So that's a gauntlet right there. They can steal one, that'd be great. They got to look probably at Champaign Central and MacArthur at the end of the year trying to get those 4th and 5th wins.
Exactly. If they win tonight, though, they only need 2 more. If they lose tonight, I feel like those 3 wins might be a tall task.
Yeah, certainly. And again, Bloomington, a team that I know we're both really high on coming into the year. They brought so much back, 17 of 22 starters. They brought back A.J. Codron at quarterback. Their entire line, that certainly helps. And, they had a big win last week against Peoria Notre Dame. That was also one that they had to win, one that could have been a coin flip. And sure enough, the Raiders won it in a 1-possession game. So keep an eye on the team in purple and gold. They may make some noise this year.
Community sends out the punt team. It's going to be Beatty to give it the boot. Back-to-back drives with a punt for Community.
Maybe too little too late, though, for Peoria High.
Takes a big bounce out of bounds past the 20-yard line. Now looking ahead for Peoria High. Good chance for a bounce back next week as they take on Manual, another crosstown matchup there. Then Richwoods, another crosstown rival. A little bit tougher as you hit the road for Bloomington, and then Normal West, I think, is the big game out of that bunch.
Yeah, I certainly think so. The Wildcats, I think right now, at the moment, are probably the most formidable opponent for the Lions. Again, the Peoria Notre Dame Irish are playing good. Bloomington's playing good. So those teams will give Peoria High a run for their money. But I think Normal West, just probably matches up better with Peoria High. They have more speed. Obviously Notre Dame, a great team. They're doing good this year. But you face the Lions against the wing T. I think they're going to stop that, and they'll probably run all over. You never know, though. We'll have to see. It should be a fun game weekend. It's going to be at Dozer Park.
Handoff to the outside. It's not Malik Ross this time. Bounce to the outside on the keeper from Green.
Number 20.
Gain of a few.
2-yard gain of play, 2nd and 8.
Looks like that's Detarion Pollard now in the game in the backfield for the Lions.
Green hits Franklin. He spins and can't stay upright. Brady Ogston knocked him down just enough. And that's going to be a first down. John, speaking of Normal West, I almost know that was the wake-up call last year for Peoria. They lost that game that we broadcasted at West. It wasn't really close in bad conditions. And then they ripped off a long win streak, didn't lose another game until the state title game, as Green's brought down after a short game. Could this be a wake-up call?
Yeah, certainly. And, Tim Thornton, he knows that, Peoria High has a really tough schedule this year. Obviously, facing Rochester, at the start of the year in that Big 12 Central State 8 crossover, which I think, by the way, I love that idea. I think they should keep it going forward. But, he says that, these are the games that you want to play. It's an opportunity to play a top-ranked 7-8 team. So I'm sure Tim Thornton is going to want to come away with a win, but he looks at this game more as an opportunity to get better rather than putting all your chips in and having this game define the season, which it does not.
John, honestly, after a loss here tonight, barring a large miracle, Peoria is really in uncharted territory at 2-2. You never see them at 500. Recently, at least, towards the middle of the season. But, again, looking at that upcoming schedule, they've got a chance to bounce back.
They certainly do. And again,
there goes Pollard. Pollard past the 50.
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely a chance to bounce back. Peoria High they're going to make the playoffs. It's not like, this team is just going to completely drop off. Obviously replacing some pieces from last year. You had, Malachi Washington, obviously, Landon Newby, Wholesome, some of those glue guys, their entire secondary, Eli McFadden and company. So if Peoria High can, finish, 7-2, 6-3, still put you in a good position in the postseason. I think they'd be a very dangerous team in Class 5A.
Green back to pass. Looks long for Webb. It's batted away. Great coverage. Anton Cassell.
Cassell's played a great game defensively, and Green, you may expect this out of your sophomore quarterback. Some of his balls just floated up in the air a bit too long, not really hitting his guys in stride as much, kind of, guys that come back, jump up for the ball as well. But Castle, nonetheless, nothing to take away there. Great defensive play.
Under 5 minutes to go. And a quick reminder, looking ahead to next week, we're going to announce our games that we're covering here soon, so stay tuned on our social media pages at Clutch Sports IL on Twitter, or X it's now called, I'm told. Screen pass brought in. This is Rayford, and he's wrapped up as it gets a little chippy.
Cassell was looking for either a big hit or an INT there. I mean, he came in flying to Rayford. Credit to him, sophomore. Again, he's looked pretty good. We're getting a little look at the future for Peoria High. With Rayford, Breon Green, now Jatarion Pollard. It's good reps for these guys against a very good normal community team whose starters are still on the field. So they're getting their licks against a very, very good, very formidable defense.
This is the thing about this game. This is not one to throw away as Pollard gets another handoff and he's wrestled down near the line of scrimmage. You get to play a team that's 2 classes larger. One, that's a disadvantage in and of itself, but secondly, it's a chance to learn something, and I can guarantee you that Peoria High is going to come out better from this loss.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And they obviously learned something against Rochester. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have beaten Danville in week 2. And they certainly they learned something there. They learned something here. Now you get 2 lessons that you already learned, probably more than 2 already 4 games into the season. So now, 5 games left in the regular season plus the playoffs to kind of get things going.
Green chucks it long, looking for Russell. He brings it in.
What a catch.
Russell through double coverage. As community can't believe it. Boundy wanted pass interference. But no less, first down and a big gain for the Lions, trying to put another touchdown on the board late. John, I've been impressed by some of these throws from Breon Green. A lot of them have been a little risky, but no less, he's got an arm.
And again, obviously there was that pick 6 to Dexter Niekamp, but that wasn't really Green's fault. I mean, he was being chased down and the ball just popped up in the air and Niekamp just happened to be there. So it's not like he made a bad read. Green's made some good decisions with the football tonight. That's really all you can ask out of your sophomore quarterback.
A few score updates from around the area. Peoria Notre Dame wins 42-7 over Richwoods. And Morton has run away from Metamora 31-6.
How about the Potters, man? That's a dangerous team in the Mid-Illini.
Green keeps it for himself, reaching for the goal line. He stopped short.
20, Green.
Still on his feet. Green just almost got in there. Again, we've seen Green before this year. Got some playing time last week against Urbana. Stepped in the second half, had a rushing touchdown against Rochester. So those have certainly helped. I'm sure the Lions probably would have wanted Tino Gist out there, but you got to be pretty pleasantly surprised, maybe not surprised, but pleased with the performance of Breon Green tonight.
High snap over Green. He recovers and he is ripped down. Chase Wilson is there, and now it's 4th and goal. Under 90 seconds left.
Recovered by Green, brought down by Chase Wilson, and
a 4th down now here for the Lions. At this point, just want to end on a high note, get in the end zone. I say if you're Green, probably just throw the ball. Your guys have been able to make plays.
10 yards out of the end zone. The throw goes back to Russell. He makes the catch, in for the touchdown. That drive belonged to Spencer Russell. The long reception, and then he caps it off with a great touchdown catch.
A toe tapper in the back corner right there. Just barely got both feet in bounds. A little ballet action from the senior wide receiver and cornerback.
So it looks like the Lions offense will end on a high note. They'll go for 2. Trying to get the score back within 20. Russell in motion. It's the give up the guts. That was to Woods, and he got clobbered, not even close. So the lead will stand at 21, and that's likely to be our final score at 63-42 in favor of Normal Community.
Normal Community 63, Peoria High 42.
Lions will have one more kickoff.
Maybe they can recover it, get another touchdown, 2-point conversion, maybe make it 63-50. Larry, we said that over 100 points could be scored. Well, we're at that point now, 105 total.
How about it? There's that Uftring scoring drive. Took up 6 minutes. It's probably a little bit more than you'd like at this point in the ball game, but again, a good, strong drive, a few good throws from Breon Green, and those 2 excellent catches from Spencer Russell.
Again, if Spencer Russell, if he can, kind of have a breakout year, which I know a lot of people on Peoria High are kind of knowing that he can have, it adds, so much more in that wide receiver room. Obviously, Javen Moore, you see what he's been able to do tonight. TQ Webb, probably a little bit more quiet than usual, but he's obviously a huge playmaker. Spencer Russell's made some nice catches. Sean Franklin in the mix as well. This Lions wide receiver group is still one of the best in the area. They'll take Peoria High very far, I think. You can have 4 good wide receivers at the high school level. It's a recipe for success.
Will certainly take the Lions a long way down the stretch as the kickoff goes deep. And the returner comes up, drops to a knee. That's Ivo Austin, who's caught 2 touchdown passes tonight from Kyle Beatty, who is undoubtedly our player of the game, Jonathan. Beatty will come out in victory formation for the Iron here. What a ball game from Kyle Beatty. The junior just keeps getting better and better.
And the scary part is, Larry, at least for the rest of the Big 12, is what you just said. A junior. He's still got a full another year and so much more to progress. Again, stepped in for Chase Weitz last year. Sure, at the moment, Normal Community was like, oh boy, what do we do now? Our starting QB is down. Those reps really helped Beatty last year. Obviously, it's helped him out this year. He's been phenomenal all season long. And he's going to get a whole nother year to do it again next year as well. Him and his receivers, just the connection they have right now has been fantastic.
Beatty takes the knee as the handshakes begin. A lot of mutual respect between these 2 teams. You can't exactly say that they're rivals, but I think they're rivals in the sense that these are the 2 teams consistently at the top of the conference.
Yeah, definitely. And you see it in other sports, teams that, maybe aren't, rivals by geographic proximity, but rivals because that every time that they play, it's going to be 2 of the best teams around. And we certainly, we certainly saw that tonight. Peoria High, they just had a little bit of a down-slanting quarter that really put them behind. But aside from that, I think it was a really close competitive ball game. Fun to watch from both sides. Lots to be excited about for both the Ironmen and the Lions.
Jason Drengwitz, Irons head coach, said, our team motto, cum juxti sumus unum. Together we are one. And tonight, as one, the Ironmen bring home perhaps their most impressive victory yet. 63-42 over a reigning state runner-up in Peoria High.
Yeah, that motto I asked Jason Drengwitz about, I took a little bit of Latin back in high school, believe it or not. I knew what sumus unum meant. I meant that means that we are one. I didn't know what canuxti meant. And he said that, he read 2 books by a guy named Martin Rooney called Coach to Coach in High 10. And, he said that, there are a lot of Latin phrases in there those coaches use. And he said he kind of stole it from the book, used it since their COVID year coming back in 2021. Since then, community's just been a force to be reckoned with. But this is the most dangerous Ironman team, I think, in quite some time. They have a potential to go a very long way. And again, they've passed the gauntlet, Larry. It's not going to say easy sailing, but it gets easier for the rest of the season. They have a real shot to go 9-0, I think.
Normal Community improves to 4-0.
Our Are you sitting on the sidelines because you want more choices? Get in the game during the Total Sales Blitz at every Uftring Auto Group dealer, because we're loaded with our best total selection in 3 years and an all-star team that will make you a winner. UftringAutoGroup.com.
Mushanti Heating and Cooling specializes in commercial and residential heating and cooling services. We're a Tempstar dealer, but service all makes and models with products that always provide you the best solutions.
Give your local experts a call at Mushanti Heating and Cooling.
The Fox has become known for some of the best British and American pub fare around. And for you craft beer lovers, we have 25 ever-changing draft handles. Whether it's lagers, IPAs, stouts, or ciders, the Fox has something for everyone. Join us at the Fox Pub in North Peoria.
You dream it, we'll deliver it at Academy of Screen Printing and Awards. Your promotional goods delivered on time, every time, with a local trusted team here for you.
Stop in and see us at Academy of Screen Printing and Awards.
Well, while we're on the subject of Latin normal community, Carpe Noctis, they seized the night over Peoria High, 63-42. A win for normal community as the number 5 team in 7A improves to 4-0. Looking at their upcoming schedule that we saw earlier, they've got Bloomington next week. That's at 7 p.m. Then they hit the road for Danville, Urbana, Peoria, Notre Dame, and Manual down the stretch.
Yeah, again, should be some good games, but, obviously Bloomington, P&D, Danville games, probably the best 3 in that slate remaining for community. But again, I think they're going to be favored in those games. They've learned so much in these first 4. I think it's going to be a really special season for the Ironmen.
And for Peoria High, chance to bounce back next week against Manual, then Richwoods, Bloomington, and Normal West. All things considered, far from an easy schedule down the stretch there with Bloomington West and Peoria Notre Dame.
Yeah, again, but, you have chances to kind of rebound and kind of go back to the drawing board against Manual and Richwoods. Then you got Bloomington, Normal West, P&D, games that certainly aren't gimmies for sure. I think that Peoria High, can and win those games for sure and head into the playoffs again at 7-2. So, you can win 5 straight games, head into the playoffs with some momentum, with some lessons from earlier in the season that you've had time to build off of as well. I think it'll really help them. And again, they lost by 21 tonight, but, considering the circumstances with Breon Green at quarterback and making his first varsity start, did a very good job. Again, it's so tough for a guy like that to come in and win on the road against one of the best teams in Class 7A. So again, I think lots to look forward to for the Lions. They're not going anywhere. Still got to keep an eye on them. Should be a great team this year.
John, that does it for our coverage this week. Stay tuned for where we're headed next week. Again, follow us on social media at Clutch Sports IL on Twitter, at Clutch Sports Media on Instagram and Facebook to find out where we're headed next Friday for the game of the week on ClutchSportsIL.com and CIProud.com. But for now, that does it. For our entire crew working hard to bring you the game at home, for my partner Jonathan Michael, for Josh Messenger, Rodrigo Perez at the controls, for our camera operators Michael Savoy, Dalton Carmine, and Patrick Huber, this is Larry Larson saying thank you so much for joining us on your Friday night, and hopefully you'll do the same next Friday. One more time, the final score tonight, it's the Ironmen building that curtain up a little bit more. They improved to 4-0 with a 63-42 win over Peoria High. Good night, everybody.